It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Paisley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics season is over. Director of Basketball Operations Brad Stevens met the media yesterday to wrap up the year. He said that Jaylen Brown does indeed have a partially torn meniscus in his sore knee, but it looks like he won't need surgery for it.
You know, that's been something that's he's had for a while, and it's been stable, and he's played with it, and so that's been several scans through and through.
As for Kristaps Porzingis, he was diagnosed with post-viral syndrome. The team believes that rest will get both players back to full strength. Game one of the Western Conference Finals is tonight in Oklahoma City as the top-seeded Thunder oppose Minnesota. Patriots voluntary OTAs are continuing this week in Foxborough. In other NFL news, the Philadelphia Eagles signed head coach Nick Sirianni to what's been termed a multi-year contract extension. He was entering the final year of his previous deal. Red Sox put together a solid win over the Mets last night, 3-1 at Fenway Park in the opener of a three-game series. Jarren Duran had 2 hits and an RBI, and Aroldis Chapman finished off 4 1/3 shutout innings from the bullpen with a scoreless ninth inning for the save. The Sox are a game under 500. They're expected to activate Walker Buehler off the injured list to face the Mets tonight, and it'll be Florida against Carolina this evening in Game 1 of the NHL's Eastern Conference Finals. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit CatchesLaw.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Get the app.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT loading up.
Let me hear you say, boo, boo, boo.
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag.
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that. Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some shine. Having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
I like a good undercarriage that you can scrape.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy. Town Fair Tire Studios. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. And watch us live. And then our show's up there forever, unless something happens and we have to take it down. But most of them are up there forever. And they have clips from all the shows. It's a wonderful thing. I hope everyone enjoyed their evenings last night. I was in Groton, Massachusetts. It's if you put a lie detector on me, I would answer truthfully. Memory's a strange thing, so I don't know. But yesterday was the coldest I've ever been at a baseball game in my entire life. Yesterday in May 19th. And it was a good game. My son got to pitch. He pitched very well. I enjoyed myself, but I was with my daughter came because she won't be able to see his last game. So this last game of the season. So we were there. And she handled the cold better than I did. We were up in the last row of the small bleachers, metal bleachers, and I was legitimately shivering. Like my body was shivering. There was a wind. It was overcast. It was not drizzling, but there was like points where there was like a tiny bit of rain falling. Like it was awful. So cold. What's going on with this place? And this isn't normal but I do know, like, so Milo turned 17 on Friday. And for some of you who have been listening for a long time, you might have heard on the air when he was born, because it took forever for him to come out. And when he was, it goes right to the NICU. He was covered in waste. And so it wasn't a big deal, but it was in the room with us. They didn't have to take him to another room, but it was the harbinger of my life. And so my son, his birthday, and I remember his birthday when he was little. We had a fire truck come to the house, and this old fire truck, and the kids could screw around with the fire truck.
Yeah,
and you had to wear a winter jacket. And I do remember that, but that is a story that we tell people. Like, can you remember that year? It's like that year we got all the snow. Like, remember that year as an adult for you in Boston when we got all that snow? What was that, like 8 years ago or something?
We were in Phoenix, I think. We missed the first big snowstorm. But
so
then,
I think there were 3 storms in a row, and that was like 80 inches inside of a month, and
That's
I think
right.
it was 2015.
Yeah, so like 10 years ago. Yeah. So we lived through that, and so, but that's kind of how the birthday party in late May that we had winter coats on. I walked the dog last night because I got home and the dog was in the crate. I walked the dog. I had to wear my full-on winter coat. This is not a good place to live. It's not a good place to live because I'll tell you this is that it's not, and then it will be nice in mid-June to mid-September or late September. September's a nice month here. Mm-hmm. But everything's back in school's back and everything. So everything's closed. The pool's closed. The pool, at least the pools that I'm aware of, closed. So there's no going into a pool, so your pool, if you like to go out and immerse yourself in water in some form, you've got good luck. You got a month, 2.5 months, maybe 2.5 months, probably 2. Most places in the world, I would assume, are fairly nice right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not winter jacket cold. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be worse. And if you're going away for Memorial Day weekend locally or in the Northeast, have fun. Well, because it's going to be even worse than yesterday.
Let me play devil's advocate here. Okay?
Sure.
Because years past, we've all complained that there's no spring anymore. It goes from winter to summer. Mm-hmm. It goes from cold, you need jacket, long pants, to it's 80 degrees, it's too hot already. What happened to spring? This is spring. This is spring. You get and it's a little bit warmer during the day, but it gets cooler at night. And it still might say 40 something on the old thermometer when you get up in the morning. So
that wasn't spring in Detroit.
I was just going to
Detroit's
ask,
cold as hell.
What is spring? What is this time of year like in Detroit?
Well, first of all, it's light until late, which is nice. It's light now there until past 9. Yeah. So you got that going for you. It's when my friends, when their kids were young, my kids were younger, we would FaceTime because I'm not doing that now like some punk. But there would be times when I FaceTime, I'm close to one of my friend's kids. I'm sort of like an uncle-y. And I would talk to them, they're old now. So I would talk to them, and it would have been dark here for 2 hours, and it would look like they were in Australia or something. It would be because they'd be outside. It'd be bright sun. And what the hell is going on? And it's the same time zone. And you'd be like, remember you weren't here. I had someone on the show one time arguing with me about what time zone Detroit was in.
I remember that.
And someone who was on the show telling me how I was wrong about the time zone Detroit was in.
No. Detroit's an hour behind.
Yeah, they insisted and dug their heels in about how Detroit was in the central time zone.
Well, it's not.
I have to give you credit for not completely losing your crap that day.
Well,
that was really something.
I thought that they were kidding, and I'm like,
No.
I did. I mean, Jesus Christ, I grew up there. I don't know what you want. I mean, I mentioned it from time to time.
That was an all-timer.
I mean, Jesus
really
Christ,
good.
It was weird. Just the idea that you couldn't say, you know what, this guy's probably a pretty good expert on the time zone that Detroit's in, considering that He lived there for 18 years.
I have to give myself credit too, because usually that's a mistake I would make. But even I understood at the moment
Well,
what was going on.
it's a mistake that I could easily make. But if someone grew up there, I would go, "Oh, you're." I would. I don't think I'd argue if you grew up there and told me what time zone it was in.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would like to think. Now, I'll argue about a lot of things, and I'm wrong about like a ton of stuff, and wrong about stuff that I think I'm right in terms of like facts. Of course, like all the time, to the point now where it doesn't even bother me. But I would like to think that, like, for instance, if you came back from, even if you came back from where were you, Luxembourg?
Yes.
Yeah. Like if you came back from Luxembourg and you said there's a 6-hour time difference, say there's 7-hour time difference. And I didn't think that was true, that I would go, oh, I was wrong. Like immediately just go, I was wrong. He was just there. Like he would know he was there, let alone growing up there. Jesus. That's a real argument I had on the show.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. That's so unbelievable. Now I'm getting all pissed off. Anyway,
this is a bad week.
So
and
anyway,
you were talking about the temperature being in the
yeah.
40s. That's what it's going to be for a high on Thursday.
Yeah,
upper 40s.
Well, at least that last baseball game is Wednesday, but that's not supposed to be so great. But yeah, this weekend's supposed to suck. And now we're all working Memorial Day. Everyone got on board, which is, I think you'll be very happy that you did, because then you can actually take the time off, so you so choose, that Memorial Day when it's actually warm and that there's something to do instead of being stuck in the house or going to a movie or something because there's nothing to do. I tell you. Ugh.
I was looking ahead at the weekend because I don't like to do like a week out. Like, yeah, so much can change.
Yeah.
But yesterday, I'm like, okay, it's less than a week. I have 2 days on the golf course, 2 full days, which I rarely do, you know. But like, hey, I'm going to actually play in this tournament thing. I'm going to be gone. It's 18 holes. It's a lunch afterward. It's Saturday and Sunday. Fine, go ahead. All right, you're fine. Everybody good? Everybody's good, and we don't need you around, Dad. Okay, fine. I'm gone. And I'm looking at the temperatures for this weekend.
I think Sunday might be the best day.
Sunday is the best day.
Yeah.
But still, it's going to be a low of 47.
Yeah.
So arriving there, it's, lucky to hit 50 in the morning. And then we're topping out, first of all, 55% chance of rain, a high of 58, then a high of 61 on Sunday.
Woohoo!
Yeah, not good.
That's not what I had envisioned weeks ago when I decided to play in this thing and got the green light to do it. I'm like, this is going to be great.
No. Well, speaking of the golf tournament, the 98.5 The Sports Hub golf tournament is sold out. And Johnny, it's you and I, and whoever, you're a player of your choosing and a player of my choosing.
Really?
Because Hardy has ditched the group to go play with 3 other people. So I got a call yesterday about the Globe thing, and then about the golf tournament. He's like, "Do you want?" So here's the thing that I could do.
Okay.
I actually have friends that are really, really good at golf. Like I have a friend who's like a plus handicap. Like so I could technically ask him to play, and we would win.
Yeah,
like we would win for sure. Like there's no doubt he's better than anyone that's playing in this tournament. Yeah.
Okay.
But he's really into golf.
Oh, all right.
But or I could pick someone who is not as into golf, but I don't know. There's a thing. Is like, is that the kind of thing that do you want to win it? Like I could ask a guy, and if he's in town, he'd play. He's like a real plus handicap, like 300 yards off the tee, real good golfer. But I don't know. It's up to you. It's how do you want to play this thing?
I have a guy in mind that's also really good. He's not a plus, but he's like a 2. But at the same time, I have someone else in mind who might be better to hang out with under the circumstances.
I just don't think that it's a good idea if like one of us wins it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I like the guy a lot. That's a plus handicap, and he's been very good to me. But I don't think it's a good idea to bring him.
Now, do you really think that I ditched you?
No.
Okay.
Why did you? What happened?
They decided to go, well, you know that they're doing a different bidding process this year. And last year we did raise extra money for people to bid to play with Felger and Maz and to bid to play with me and Fred. And we had a great time. Really liked the guys that we played with.
Yeah.
But it's like a different system, charity stuff this year, and they weren't able to set that up. So instead, they want to get a couple other people involved and people who had played in the past, trying to whatever. So these are guys that I played with before, and they want to get them to come back, and we're working on that. And that meant I was going to not play with you guys again.
No, I don't think that you ditched us at all. I mean, when he said you can bring a friend, I mean, it wasn't like I was like, oh, Jesus, I got to go bring a friend. Like, I was like, all right, cool.
Okay.
And it's plenty of time to get someone. Because he's like, would your son want to play? And I'm like, but it's best ball. But if my son played, I'd be afraid he'd get, like, super pissed off at himself. So I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm just going to ask a guy if he wants to play.
Well, here's what you and Wallach should do. And again, you don't want to win the thing.
Right.
But if you and Wallach just play as a twosome and then negotiate, hey, we each get to hit 2 balls. So, Freddie T, what you do is you stand up there and then you just, you hit your fairway finder swing, right? You get one in play, and then you jump on one, okay? Now we got one out there. Johnny Ball game, what do you got? Then he can just swing out of his shoes. This gorilla over here to my left, right? Fred, not once, but twice. So now you guys are, and as good as that is, once you're on the greens, that's when the 2-stroke option really, really comes into play. You roll a putt, you got an 18-footer for eagle, right? Oh, I just missed down the right-hand side. Johnny Wall game. Roll that ball back to me. I'm going to not move my feet. I'm going to hit the same putt, but this time I'm going to just take it a hair inside the same line. Boom, eagle. I would imagine if you two each hit 2 shots on each shot, you probably come in around 22 under. It's just going to be
no question.
An absolute rout.
Because if I really let it go and let John let it go, I mean, we're on in 2 every par 5.
Oh, yeah. You're driving the par 4. You're driving the par 4s.
Yeah, we're driving the par 4s.
Yeah.
There's no question.
And you're sinking every putt.
And you know what would be funny if it was just the 2 of us? All we would be doing is sitting in the cart waiting.
Seriously?
We would just be sitting in the cart waiting.
We'd be done by like hole 11. How many more do we have?
Exactly. Like we would just be in the cart waiting.
Like a lot of that time can be spent with you two just talking strategy. And really staying in the moment, focusing on the next shot. Let's talk about this next shot.
Fred, you need to improve your swing thought. It's not where it needs to be.
Because best ball with a twosome is way quicker than just playing as a twosome because you're just picking up your crap shots and then moving on to the ball.
I'm going to be a hardo. I let it go the first time. I'm not inclined to let it go a second time. It's not a best ball. It's a scramble.
My bad. Scramble.
Thank you.
What's the difference between best ball and scramble?
Best ball is you each play your own ball for the entirety of the hole, and then you count the best score. That's the best ball.
Oh, okay. Scramble.
Scramble is you both hit. You pick, I like this shot better than yours. Okay, you drop one from here, and then we both play from here.
Well, scramble is the most fun of the formats to me. I think it's the most fun.
But it's also anyone who goes out and plays a scramble thing, and it's like, oh, this will be quicker than just all 4 of us playing our own ball. It's not.
No.
Well,
also at a golf tournament, they have a few holes where at the beginning there's multiple foursomes coming off the same hole. So, I mean, just by nature, the course is going to be clogged. That's not how courses usually operate.
Correct.
At least at my club, which, they love me there.
They love you so much, they send you extra correspondence.
Yeah, for no reason. Jesus Christ. But I'm supposed to play there on Friday too. And who knows what email I'll get now? It's funny, you stop drinking and all of a sudden these emails start coming in. it's every 10 minutes that they let someone off. So, like, it just by that nature that if you're not doing that, whatever. All right, well, look.
You want some bad news about this summer?
Yeah.
Joe from Saugus says, bad news, guys. I work for a company that studies weather models and traffic patterns for retail clients. For about 3 or 4 months now, everything we have seen shows summer in the Northeast this year not really happening. A weak Bermuda high, a weaker than usual polar vortex, and a strong maritime block high mean that the Northeast is susceptible to frequent cold fronts and lots of rain.
Great. Hopefully they rain out all of Miles' games so I spent all that money for no reason this summer. All right, very good. We will be back in just a moment.
More.
Wanted to hear more music in the morning.
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
Oh, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hi, we're Toucher and Hardy. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lopresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Hardy, what is going on?
Red Sox at home last night to take on the New York Mets. Now, this was not a great weekend for Juan Soto as he traveled to the Yankees ballpark and did not get a warm welcome there in front of the fans of his former team. So instead, he'll be heading into the friendly confines of Fenway Park. Things didn't go great for Juan Soto last night either. We'll get to that in a moment. But let's start with some good news and some offense from the Red Sox.
Another line drive. That one down the right field line. All the way to the wall. Narvaez churning around third. He's being waved in. He's going to score. Into third base, standing up with another triple. And the Sox are on top 3-0.
That's an RBI triple, 3-0. That's really all it would take in this game last night, as the Red Sox would go on to get the 3-1 win. Now, as far as Juan Soto's night last night, well, let's start with this. First of all, Juan Soto at the plate.
Ground ball right side. Hamilton into second, got it out, back to first, and in time for the double play. Red Sox double up Soto.
Yes, double up Soto, so he hits into a double play there, and this is probably the ball you would think he would want back, but maybe not.
Swinging a high drive, left field, back toward the wall. That is up there, and it's going to catch the green. Back to Durant. It's going to be a long single for Soto. He winds up at first base. That's how the sixth inning gets underway. A base hit.
Soto doesn't even attempt the double, unlike Alonso. He got out of the box.
Yeah, he thought the ball was over the monster and just trotted down to first base thinking he was going to touch them all, and instead had to hold up at first.
That wind we were talking about, Fred, was blowing straight in. So on both balls, you heard Lou reference Pete Alonso. Alonso, I think, did basically the same thing. They both hit bullets that would have been out of there on any night, but the wind knocked it down. Ball wound up off the wall both times. So
Hey, Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Oh, I get it off the wall.
It wanted to rock with you all night.
That Alonso ball off the green monster, John. Dobbins talked about that afterward.
I was pretty upset with myself. Missed my spot. We had a game plan. I didn't execute it. He made a good swing. Loved the monster for that one. Durant made that great play. Got the out and kind of settled in after that. But, the wind and the monster helped me out on that one.
Look, we're not above a little uniform talk here as long as we're talking about the monster. What did you make of the City Connect uniforms over the weekend, the green monster green? Did you see it?
Yeah, it's fine. No problem with it.
Loved it. Hello.
I liked it.
Stuff like that doesn't bother me, or sometimes they're real cool, and I'll go oh, that's really cool, but they never bother me. Especially when they say poop or when they make a hat with a Spanish swear in there for boobies, as there was the case with the Texas Rangers hat. The mistakes are glorious too, but I'm not a big getting pissed about uniforms, unless were a White Sox in the late 70s.
Oh,
I don't think that you don't have any room to be upset about your uniform. Chris Sale, tore his up, and it's when Chris Sale had to wear those. He tore him up when they did the throwbacks.
I remember that was right before the Red Sox traded for him, and the White Sox uniforms you're talking about, they were shorts, right? I think they were shorts in the 70s.
And a collared shirt.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. Yeah, it wasn't good.
Ramon Vasquez was the manager last night because Alex Cora was not there. He attended his daughter's graduation from Boston College. You got showered. It was with beer, which is a golden color. Not going to do it. But it was a fun moment for him.
I don't know if it's the first win or not. I'm not sure. I think it is. It was a cold beer shower in there, and I'm still freezing right now.
Alex Cora had a graduation yesterday morning, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So was either unable or unwilling to attend last night. Didn't bother me so much in the moment when I found out that it was like an AM ceremony situation. Well, two things. Number one, yeah, he probably could have made it to work. But number two, I don't think these college graduations, and as I will find out here in another week or two myself, even the high school graduations, I don't think these events are known for their brevity.
No.
I believe they go on for a while.
I've heard that.
So, yeah, I don't know. What time does Cora get to the park, do you think?
What do you think, John?
After brunch?
2?
You have to have
No.
brunch
On a normal day. What is it when you get to the
earlier? Managers are crazy. Like
Right.
noon, 1 o'clock, something like that.
Okay.
For a 7 o'clock game?
Players get there at 2 or 3.
He doesn't need to, but if the schedule's gonna be thrown off, and maybe if he's gonna do a little bit of celebrating, it just seems a little bit odd that a game that specifically and officially counts for the same number of games as a game would, say, in late August, when there could be hopefully something on the line. This one, if you're fine missing, and the one later on in the season, I don't think any of us would expect him to miss that one, nor would he.
Makes sense.
But this one, he's like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
a May game. We're under 500. You know.
Yeah.
What's one game?
Interleague, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just going to miss it. Now, do you want to hear what Felger had to say about it now, or you want to keep that for later?
Yeah, we can do it now.
All right.
I have found that talking about someone's time off is a trigger. You people, I get it, folks. You don't want to go to work. I got it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you don't want to go to work. And you feel justified in taking every day you possibly can for everything under the sun. That's your deal, not mine. I am sorry.
I know a guy right now who is taking his family leave and is spending, from what I can see, just with my own eyes, spending every moment of that family leave either on the golf course or at the gym doing anything other than being at home with the family, as he and his wife welcomed a new baby. Not recently.
Oh.
Months ago.
Oh, really? All right. Okay.
Like, I
so
guess.
what are you doing? You know, every time I see him, I'm like, why are you not working? Oh, the family leave. He's like, yeah, it's great. Yeah. Do you worry that maybe when you go back, they say to themselves, we got along fine without you for months?
What? Can I ask what he does for a living?
I'm not sure. Just not a good friend.
Oh,
just
okay.
a guy that I know.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I was allowed paternity leave, I think. I don't know. It doesn't seem like I took a ton of it, but I would have. I think you take every day that the man will give you. You know, unless it's your own business. But if you work for a corporation, they'd screw you in any way they could. So might as well take the days. That's my opinion on that. But I could see that if you had kids that were older, like maybe if you had kids in like the 80s or something, or the 90s, and there wasn't this paternal leave, like being annoyed by it. But it doesn't annoy me because I got it. And also just the way corporate America is, I mean, they'd fire you, or if you get sick, they don't pay you. So like I would take the days. Like I'm not giving up anything that you're offering because, I'm taking it in a lot of other ways. Like when you have a job and you're sick, you don't get paid. Like, so if that's going to happen, well, then when I have a kid, even if I don't live in the house, I'll take the days.
Yeah, the part that I really don't understand is the people who will take, whatever the company gives them and then take the extra time where they don't get paid just because you don't have to come to work now. Now you're not going to get paid beyond however many weeks you get for the family leave, but you're allowed to stay away while the baby is young and all that stuff, and they will take all that time. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
get
understand that.
That
either.
doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make that. That's just stupid.
Unless you're, some kind of weirdo who wants to be around a newborn all day, every day.
No. No.
No, I guess the paternity leave is for the men, or fraternity leave or whatever it is for men, is the idea that adjusting to the baby being in the house. And that probably takes at most 2 weeks. And that seems like a lot, but if they're going to give it to you, take it. But I don't think Core missing the game is that big a deal. There's 162 of them.
No.
And it's not, if it was late, we talked about this off air. If it was later in the season, if it was like in September, then I would be like, especially because it was in the morning, I would be like, well, yeah, you got to show up. But a game in mid-May, I don't have a problem with that. Let him go.
That's fine.
Let's get to this before we. I don't want to miss out on this. Shaquille O'Neal was talking about this most recent NBA lottery, where the Dallas Mavericks somehow magically, with 1.8% chance of getting the overall number one pick, got the overall number one pick. Magically, in this same year, they trade away Luka Doncic to one of the league's league's premier franchise, the Lakers, and seemingly don't get enough in return, and now are left struggling. And the Mavericks somehow just get the number one pick and presumably Cooper Flag, and they'll be able to rebuild their franchise. There's been a lot of discussions over the years about the NBA rigging the draft. Here's what Shaquille O'Neal had to say about it the year he was in the draft.
I don't know if you heard this story, but in 1992, I think the draft was in June or something, I meet Mr. Stern in March. And he says to me, hey, no, you are. Can't wait for you to come to the NBA. Then he pulls me to the side. You want to play where it's cold or where it's hot? He asked me that. Yeah, he did. He asked me that, and I was like, hot. And he smiled, and I smiled, and then Orlando, Florida was number one. I was like, I didn't think anything about it, but, you hear a lot of these conspiracy theories.
Yeah, that is really a smoking gun. He had a conversation and said, you want to play where it's cold or it's hot? And then he said hot. And then they go, you know where you're going, buddy? The media mecca of Orlando, Florida. We have a huge star in college that people knew about. He played 2 years at LSU, I think. Did he play 2 years at LSU? I think he might have.
Maybe.
I think he might have.
I don't remember.
But I might be wrong. But I off the top of my head, I think he played 2 years, but maybe he didn't. But everyone watched Shaq in college. He played 3 years at LSU. Okay. So everyone watched Shaq in college. He was, like a freak show in college. It was great. They didn't win anything, but he was great. And so you knew coming in that he was going to be a big star. And if the NBA wanted to pump up anything, it would be Orlando, Florida.
Okay, so they had only been in existence for about 3 years, right? And the league is trying to prop them up and build them up a little bit. Yeah. And I would say it's plausible that they would actually choose to send him there. And B, if it were to ever come out, you've also got the plausible deniability of saying, like, yeah, you think he wanted to go to Orlando? You think this is something that we set up for him? Come on.
Yeah, that's the best kind of scam, is when it doesn't even benefit you. You just rig it so it benefits no one, so you have plausible deniability.
It benefited the league.
They had Scott Skiles and Reggie Theus and Kelly Tripucka. I mean, I don't remember who was on that team when they started. That's not enough.
They had Tripucka in 89?
No.
Tripucka was in Charlotte.
Oh, in 89, yeah. No, Tripucka wasn't in Orlando.
I think Tripucka was on the Charlotte expansion
Well, Reggie
team.
Theus and Scott Skiles were on Orlando. That I can tell you.
You might be right. You lived there, so you might.
No. I didn't live there then. I
okay.
lived after Shaq was on the team. I moved there in '93, so Shaq was on the team when I moved there. And then they got Hardaway the next year, which was probably rigged too, because they went Orlando, Florida, the promised land, the key to riches. The only draft lottery that was rigged was the Ewing draft. That's the one. Is that Ewing? That was the draft. Ewing was the biggest college star of my lifetime.
Yeah.
I think that's safe to say. Is Patrick Ewing was the biggest college star of my lifetime.
So 0% of your brain thinks that this Dallas draft was rigged?
Yeah. Because I don't know why you would reward Dallas. I don't know why.
Because they did you a solid by trading Luka to the Lakers.
I can see a path to that. Sure.
Yeah, but you could do that. See, here's where people go insane, and I've seen it. Like literally insane.
I'm here for it. Go.
Is that if you in your mind just go, okay, well, and then start doing what could benefit everyone and how it all fits together. Because if I was the league, I'd go, you know who I want to get the number 1 pick? Philadelphia. I want Philadelphia. It's the biggest. It's a big market. It's a big basketball market, and they have a chance to do something. I want them with the number 1 pick. I don't want Dallas with the number 1 pick. Now Dallas is a big market. But
top 5, right?
Yeah, but how were the ratings for the finals when they were in it?
Not great.
Who do you think? I'll ask you this, and you can tell me I'm wrong.
It's a process, Fred. They're building.
Well, listen, that's what Philadelphia had the process. If who do you think the league would rather? And this is open for debate, but who do you think the league would rather have in? Philadelphia or Dallas? I know they're in different conferences, but who do you think that they'd rather have in?
I understand your point about Philadelphia, but after Dallas traded Luka Doncic, it's a good story if they wind up with the number 1 overall pick after trading a big star.
Okay,
you get a big star.
But then Wembanyama went to San Antonio. If San Antonio gets the number 1 pick, then you have Flag and Wembanyama on a team, and that's a huge story. If Philadelphia is the 3rd pick, it's the 1st pick, then you got them. You get Maxey and Flag and Embiid, and
all you're doing is convincing me more, especially with that going back to the Orlando thing, because the league wants all of these teams to be a destination for somebody. And if you're in a big city like New York, L.A., Chicago, Dallas, you've got the draw of the city there, even if the team isn't that good. How do you make these players want to go play for a team like the Orlando Magic? You put Shaquille O'Neal there.
Well, it didn't work.
It makes it a destination.
Well, it didn't work. I mean, they had about a window of 2 years.
Well, they didn't know it wouldn't work.
Then why did they let Shaq go to L.A.? I mean, Shaq left. I mean, they let him leave.
Well, they can only rig so much. They can only control so much.
It comes down to the team, Fred. Orlando didn't want to pay him all that money.
But the Dallas thing is that they rigged the trade for Luka, and then in return they got Flag.
Mm-hmm.
So why did Shaq not stay in Orlando then? If they rigged it for him to go to Orlando, why didn't he stay there?
Because they didn't want to pay him.
What did Orlando get out of it then? They would have paid him. They absolutely would have paid him.
Not according to Wallach and everything he says, I believe.
Orlando would have paid him.
I don't think it was a trade. I think it was a straight.
He wanted to leave.
Yes,
he wanted gone. He wanted to go to L.A.
If he didn't want to go to L.A., if follow this logic, if he didn't want to go to L.A. because L.A. Again a premier franchise, if he didn't want to go there, he said, you know what, my heart and my soul is in Utah. I want to go to Utah. Then I think the league would have stepped in and said, you know what? Why don't you stay where you are? Orlando's a very good team. You got a better chance of winning here. We'd prefer you stay in Orlando.
Sure. I mean, yeah. I'm not gonna. All I got to say is be careful how many of these conspiracies you buy into in your real life, because ask Mark Maron about it. He tells stories about when he got into conspiracy theories. It drives you. I have friends, more than one, blow their heads off. They start going. You start questioning everything and thinking you know more, and like this Matrix nonsense, and you drive yourself insane. Be careful, you guys are going down a slippery slope, my friends. All right, we'll be back in just a minute. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics president of basketball operations, Brad Stevens, spoke to the media yesterday. He said Jaylen Brown's knee is stable. He needs rest. Kristaps Porzingis has post-viral syndrome. He needs rest as well. Patriots will go through day 2 of organized team activities today in Foxborough. Practices this afternoon. Mike Vrabel will meet the media late this morning. And the Red Sox beat the Mets 3-1 at Fenway Park. Jarren Duran, a double, a triple, and an RBI. Sox and Mets will play again tonight in the same place. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
And it is all we do. 98.5, the Sports Hub. Half Toucher.
Dressed like a gorilla.
Half Hardy.
A big, beautiful ball of flame.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider.
Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Actually, Orlando played hardball with Shaq. I've just been reading an article about it. So while Orlando ultimately upped their offer, the damage had been done. So that was a nice trip down memory lane. Dan, hello, Dan, our friend Dan. Hello.
I want to cheer you up, Freddie. I know it's cold, but you can take a gander at a new song that was just released. Machine Gun Kelly covers Iris by Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh, well, it needed to be done.
There's a little something for you.
It needed to be done. It needed to be done. He can't find a foothold. He got out of rap to do pop punk. And that was another debate on the show one time, is that Riot Fest audiences, I can, the PR company, why still him? Like, what's the deal?
It's fascinating. He's now failed at, three
genres.
Three genres of music.
Well, the word is Eminem with Kill Shot got him out of rap.
Yes.
And then he went country. He went pop punk, and again, so he played that Riot Fest, and he got booed off, which I knew he would.
Right.
And then so he was like, this isn't going well. So he tried country, and he did Country Road with Jelly Roll.
Right.
And Jelly Roll, by the way, will be playing in Branson, Missouri. He seems like a nice guy, but he'll be a Branson, Missouri act within the next couple years. His stadium days are going to be done quickly. Just trust me.
Yeah.
But he seems like a really good guy, and he does great press, and all of that has really benefited him. But Jelly Roll's, this isn't lasting forever. And then Machine Gun Kelly now is just, so he did Country Roads, which he doesn't get any money for. And then he does Iris, which he doesn't get any money for.
And furthermore, says, you know what sound I'm going to go for? Evanescence. I think that is what the kids are into now.
Yeah, he really is not very talented.
It's weird though. This posted to YouTube 6 days ago. It's got over 1 million views. Is that good?
I don't know.
I think that's decent, but I don't think it's like superstar.
It's just from fans of the movie. Oh, Nicolas Cage, Meg Ryan. It's a tour de force. Dennis Franz too.
I loved when they showed his butt on NYPD Blue. Andy, go ahead.
Hey, man, I'm hearing the latest out on Nantucket is that Jordan is trying to get in with the old money down there, and that Linda is having her shut out and blackballed down there.
You know what's funny?
That is the best thing I've heard. I'm going to start buying the tabloids now. I love it.
You know what's funny is that, and the guys in here can attest to this, I knew this a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
That I knew.
Because something that happened, well, not a year ago, it was before Christmas during the stroll.
Well, I knew last summer that Jordan was not welcome at Nantucket events.
Okay.
That's the text messages that I saw.
But there was a specific event that she showed up to where she was not welcome.
No, she was not welcomed. No, the funny thing is, the New York Post article, everyone just seems awful. The people in Nantucket are awful. Like, she's awful. Like, everyone's just awful. Like, it's a terrible place.
It's a nice place, though, if you want Lyme disease. That's where you go.
Hardy loves that Lyme disease is so prevalent on Nantucket.
Why?
And it's as soon as every rich person...
I don't know. I really enjoy that fact.
And
you live on Nantucket year-round, you've got a 50% chance of getting Lyme disease.
Well, the people that live there year-round, they're all... Like, there's a huge opiate crisis there. When the people that live there year-round are, like, screwed.
Yeah, you're pretty isolated out there.
Well, no, it's not isolated. You can't make any money. So, like, the people that actually live on Nantucket year-round are, like, hardworking people that are, like, barely getting by. It's the people that come in the summer that I suppose you'd want to get Lyme disease.
Yeah, I hope that a fair share of them get it, too.
I just don't know why you'd want to. I don't know why you'd want to live there. I don't know why you'd want a house there. I don't get it. There's nothing about it. Never let anyone tell you that they got a place in Nantucket because it's so beautiful. There's a million places that are just as nice as Nantucket. The reason that people get places on Nantucket is because of the
So you could be
panache
one of the
comes with
people
it.
that has a place on
Nantucket, and I swear on a stack of a million Bibles, there's not one fiber in my being that would want to do that. Not one. Not in. Could I afford a house in Nantucket? Probably, and maybe not since I've been divorced. But before I got divorced, I probably could have afforded a house in Nantucket, maybe. But first of all, none of them would like me anyway, and second of all, that sounds miserable, just miserable being with those people, awful. So the people in that article suck. Hudson is a moron. They're all a bunch of morons. Man, Nantucket. You know how I got the article? Breer. Because he's up on the Nantucket nonsense.
Yeah.
He's there a lot.
Wallach and I are going to do a timeshare together on Nantucket.
You know, I've never been.
I've been
You've
once.
Never been?
Nope.
I've been once, and it was before I moved here.
Spent my childhood at Martha's Vineyard, but never to Nantucket.
I've been to Martha's Vineyard a bunch of times. My friends, my dad's college fraternity brother, had a relative die in a plane crash, a Northwest Airlines plane crash, and they got like a phenomenal amount of money, and so he got a place in Nantucket for the summer, and they had it, and they're like, it's huge. They got like a huge place in it. Huge meaning like four. It was downtown, but it had 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms maybe. And he was just like inviting everyone up. So he invited my dad, and he's like, you can take your kid. And so me and my girlfriend, who was Stephanie at the time, went up there. That's the only time I've ever been in Nantucket. And I went there, and I went, I'm like, who cares? I like Newport more. And you can drive there. I like Newport more.
Plus, they get that hot dog restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Kaboom.
What's that called again?
Wally's Wieners.
Okay.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment. We found the call that Sean Grandy made referencing the morning show. We have that for you in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and
on to their off-season after losing to the Knicks in 6 games last Friday night, and Brad Stevens kicked off the summer by meeting the media yesterday. He said that, like last season, the results for this franchise came down to the margins.
I've said many times, we could easily have been up 3-1 when Jason got hurt. But the reality is, we were probably not winning that game anyway, so we were going to be down 3-1. Last year in the Indiana series, they could have easily been up 3-1 on us.
He also added Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis just need to rest to recover from their physical problems, and Porzingis has what's been termed post-viral syndrome. Playoffs roll on without the Green tonight. Oklahoma City faces Minnesota in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Patriots will go through Day 2 of organized team activities today in Foxborough. NFL team owners will reportedly approve a measure today that would allow players to participate in flag football in the 2028 Summer Olympics. Red Sox beat the Mets at Fenway Park 3-1 last night to move back to within 1 game of 500. Walker Buehler is expected to be activated off the injured list today. He'll pitch against the Mets tonight. And the New England Revolution plays Chicago Fire FC tonight in Providence. This is the round of 16 at the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. We'll have it on our HD2 channel at 7:30. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the $14.99 Big Deal Meals at the 99, like the crispy fried twin catch with North Atlantic cod and crispy shrimp. Available every Monday through Wednesday for just $14.99. You gotta love the nines. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
What's the best way to listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Bad illness, bad health, bad karma, bad decisions, bad shooting, and bad injury luck. And they ran into the wrong team at the wrong time because the New York Knickerbockers are beginning to look like a team of destiny.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and that was Grandy talking about how the Celtics lost. And I think Sean Grandy's a very good radio play-by-play guy. We got a guy in here, though. And normally I wouldn't know... I wouldn't really pay attention to any of this, but John, is kind of next up for that job should it be ever open. And I'll be honest with you, last summer we thought that there was a good chance we'd be losing John. So, and more power to him. That would have been great for him. I wouldn't ever try to get in the way of his dream, which is his dream, is to call the Celtics games. So I would never get in the way of that. And also... I have that friendship with Mike Gorman, who is the play-by-play guy on the television side. And, there were some rumors about maneuvering and people trying to maneuver and this and that. And so, but I do think Sean's a very good play-by-play guy, but he does things. I think he's very good at calling the game, but he does things that annoy me. But that's not his problem. It's my problem. But just to refresh your memory, we played this a bunch of times, but just to give you, it's not everything, but it's a minute of him signing off last year. So to put in perspective, the team has just won the championship. The team is on the court. They're celebrating. This is the time for the Celtics. They just won. And this is a portion of how Grandy signed off.
I gotta go pee.
All right, so right now, just to stop it, and then I won't stop it again. Cedric, as we've learned since then, wanted nothing to do with this. He wanted it over. He wanted to get out of there. He wanted it over. He didn't like this at all. And he was very proud that he never said, I love you back to Sean. He brought it up.
I gotta go pee. I'm sorry.
All right, our final 30 seconds before you go, because I have only, of the millions of words we've shared, I have only 5 that matter right now. The first 3 are to you. I love you, and I think you know that. And I can't imagine my life for the last 23 years sitting next to anybody else.
Well, it happens, big fella. And this has been a hell of a ride. And we don't know where it's going to end. But tonight, let's just say one thing. Celtics won the championship.
The other two words I want to.
All right, I have to stop it twice. So he's saying, yeah, we don't know if this is it. We don't know if this is going to end. He's referring to everything. He's talking about Grandy leaving, and he's like, but the Celtics just won the championship. Remember that? Like, let's go. I want to party. This is over. Get off the air.
The other two words I want to say are to all of you who've been with us. And those words are simply, after the millions of words we shared, they are these two. Thank you. The 23 years I've spent with you guys has been, with the exception of being a dad, has been the honor of my life. And I wouldn't trade any of it. I recognize that being the voice of the Boston Celtics is probably the first line of my obituary one day. It has been an honor in every way, shape, and form an honor can be.
All right, so you hear that, and I'm not the only one. He's making it about himself. It would be you'd have to be a lunatic to do that, unless you were leaving. You heard Gorman's last call. He was like, "That's it for me. Have a bye." Mm-hmm. Essentially, and Mike called me before that, and he's like, "What do you think?" So he must have called a bunch of people, because I don't think he just called me. But he called me and he said, "What do you think I should?" He said, "Do you think I should even say anything?" And I had to convince him that, yes, you've been a part of people's lives for this long. Like, you gotta. How long did you do it, John? 40 years. Like, you gotta say something.
Right
like,
in there, just short of it. Yeah.
Like, I think it's almost like rude if you don't. Sean, I don't know, but so obviously Chad Finn asked him about if he was leaving. John thought he was leaving. We all thought he was leaving, and that's obviously that's why he did that. Come on, I'm sick of beating around the bush. He thought he was leaving, so I said, if you're not leaving, that's weird, which it just is. If you disagree with me, I don't know what planet you're on. That doesn't happen very often. At the end of Castiglione, at the end of, what did he do after they would win the World Series? I know when he retired, he just said, "Okay, bye. That's it for me." He didn't do a big thing either, but and he'd been on for 100 years. But I don't think when Castiglione called the Red Sox championships, he signed off about how much he loved everyone. I mean, you say that it's wow. The Red Sox have won, and enjoy the night, and you're off the air. So, I made fun of it, Sean doing that, and I made fun of it because it's ridiculous. If you're not leaving, that's insane. And I don't think I'm on an island here. That's crazy. Like, why are you crying and thanking the audience and saying that it's how you're going to be remembered when you die? The Celtics just won the championship. Who cares how you're going to be remembered when you're dead? Well, apparently, and then he was asked about it because people heard it, and I don't know if they heard it through the show or if they were listening. So Wallach, as would be his, I would do the exact same thing. Wallach, is interested in how this game is going to be called because he wants to know if there's any way Sean does this again, because John could then get the job. I would do the exact same thing. I'm not even going to pretend to make fun of John about that. I would be locked in. I would want to know exactly what was going on. So John heard this and then went, "Oh, yeah, okay." And he told us about it. So here is how Sean Grandy signed off. We finally have the audio. We talked about it yesterday.
All right, this was year number 24 for us.
Goodbye, everybody. Yeah, Cedric's just no siree. And that's what makes me feel even better about it, is that Cedric knew it was ridiculous. Correct?
It's what it seemed. I actually am not talking.
No, he's been on the air with us.
No, but yes, he said that. He's like, "All right, I'm wanted to leave. It was time
you
to
don't
go."
even need to know that. The way he starts off. Yeah. All right, so bye, 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 bye.
Yeah, that's what he. Hardy's looking at me and leaning in. Yeah. That's what Cedric's doing.
Yeah.
Bye, like enough, like not again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this again. I didn't want to do it last year, and I don't want to do it now.
Oh.
See, I love Cedric so much. Mm-hmm. He's so authentic. Yep. That's the thing. Yep. He's so authentic, and I admire that so much about him. When he doesn't like something, that documentary, he doesn't like it. He wants to leave like everyone else wants to leave when it's over. Here we go.
All right, this was year number 24 for us.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great summer, and we'll see you next year. Stay healthy.
You didn't tell me that Cedric's shutting him down.
No, he's not.
No, I know he's trying to, John.
I know he is, but he's failing. Trust me.
I don't. No, I get it. We wouldn't be playing it if it didn't.
Okay.
But the reason I'm stopping it is because I assume the audience. Adam, you've been in radio for your entire life.
Yes.
He's shutting him down.
Oh, absolutely.
There's not.
Yeah.
Unequivocally, 100%, not again.
He is well aware of what happened at the end of last season. As you mentioned earlier, he brought it up unprompted on this show, talked about it. It heard us talk about it. So he sees where this is heading. And I also love Cedric's authenticity, and I also love that he's a seasoned broadcaster, and he knows, all right, I'm going to try to move this along and get it done. He probably knows somewhere in his head he can't stop Sean from saying what Sean's going to say, but he can at least try to light a fire under his ass and get him to move it along.
There's two of us, and one of us doesn't want to do this.
All right, this was year number 24 for us.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great summer, and we'll see you next year. Stay healthy.
You know how I feel about all you guys who try to sync up with us and stay with us. I don't want to say too many nice things about the fans or the aggregators and the clowns on morning shows. We'll make up a whole story about me leaving, so I want to be very careful. But you know how.
I didn't make up the story. Like, why say that? Again, the piece of crap, the clowns on the morning show, you can say all that. Fine, I don't care. Like, yeah, I'm a clown. I suck. All that's fine. I didn't make that up. I didn't make up that he was leaving. He thought he was leaving. Jesus Christ, what's his deal? Jonathan, what is his deal?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I don't know.
Why is it so hard for him to just go, yeah, I thought I was leaving, or not say anything? Clown making it up. Jesus Christ, Sean. What the hell's wrong with you? Now I'm pissed. I mean, we're going to pretend that he didn't think he was leaving? He thought he was leaving. When did he sign his contract, John, to come back to the Celtics?
Later that summer. I don't know the answer to that, Fred. I honestly don't.
When did you know you weren't getting the Celtics, John?
Oh, that was pretty apparent. That was early in the summer. Yes.
Well, I don't know about that.
That was July, August in there. I knew that. We talked about that.
I thought late August.
No, late July, early August, somewhere in there. That's how I remember it. Honestly, I'm not playing games with you.
No, I know you're not.
This is what I remember.
I remember this coming down to the wire a little bit.
Your memory might be better than mine.
Nick's saying it's right around the time that NBC Sports Boston announced who would be taking over the TV play-by-play.
And
so
that
whatever that timeline was.
We knew about that. Well, we knew about that before NBC Sports Boston announced
Okay, because I recall that this contract for the Celtics was getting down to the wire, and that there had to be that there was an end date. Like, you have to decide by this date.
Yes.
That it got down to that point. That happened. I can tell you that happened.
No, it did happen. I remember that part of it, but I think it happened earlier in the summer than you did.
Fine, but there was an ultimatum that you have to make the decision now.
Yes.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Yes, there was an ultimatum, like, you have to make a decision now. You got to decide what you want to do. Now, Sean was in no risk of losing his job, but he just had to decide that if he was going to do it or not. His contract was up, correct?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if his contract was up.
All right, this was year number 24 for us.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great summer, and we'll see you next year. Stay healthy.
You know how I feel about all you guys who try to sync up with us and stay with us. I don't want to say too many nice things about the fans or the aggregators and the clowns on morning shows. We'll make up a whole story about me leaving, so I want to be very careful. But you know how much I feel about you guys being with us all year and tweeting us and reaching out and all of the above. This is why we do it. We can't promise you the Celtics are going to compete for a championship next year.
Tweeting you.
Well, they tweeted you. You just don't see it.
Never will.
Happily so. Max and I cannot promise you a championship next year for the Celtics, but we can promise you year number 25 of Grandy and Max, and we can't wait to be back with you in October.
Aloha.
119.81 is the final. Some of the sights, some of the sounds of the title defense season. We'll see you next year.
I don't know why he felt the need that he had to say that he was coming back. Again, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I believed when he signed off last year. I believe with every fiber of my being, and from everything that I've been told when I'm behind the scenes, I believe that Sean thought he was leaving. I do. And I don't know why he feels the need to like fight back on that. I don't know what the deal is. Like a clown on the morning show, you cried about leaving. You cried about how much this meant to you. Of course that was a sign-off.
Yeah, at the very least, he thought there was a real possibility that would be the last Celtics game he was calling, so he was going to leave it all on the table.
There's no question about it.
But you shut down clowns like Wallach. I think that was directed toward Wallach more than anything. The clown on the morning show thinks he's getting his
And the
job.
clowns on morning shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clowns. There you go. Well, Cedric tried to shut it down. I can tell you that I believe with every fiber of my being that Sean thought that was his last broadcast, or a very good chance that was going to be his last broadcast. I can say that with every bit of certainty. I don't know why that bothers him. I can see why making fun of him bothers him, but I don't know why thinking that was his last broadcast bothers him. Just say you decided you didn't know if you were going to come back and you decided to come back. That's all. I mean, maybe that's what it was. That you didn't think you were going to come back and then you decided to come back. That's fine. I don't know why that's a big deal. Again, I don't understand why people don't just say what was going on. Just even if he's going to reference it all, go like last year, there was some uncertainty. My contract was up, or if I didn't know I was going to come back. And, I just want to, he could have said, I got a lot of crap from those clowns on the morning show, that untalented prick Fred Toucher. But I just want to tell you, yeah, last year I wasn't sure I was coming back. I can tell you for sure that we will be back next year. That's it for us. Bye. But that can't be what it is.
Goodbye, everybody.
It's got to be that because my wild mind thought when he started crying and going on and on and on about his tombstone that maybe he thought it was his last broadcast. I know that short of having a child, he brought up his death in the birth of his child. Like, that's just how you sign off for old season 23? Get out of here.
24.
Well, this was 24.
Yes.
Last year was 23.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
He's
and
back.
I want to get. I would like you to really think about that timeline, John, because
he's back for season 25.
Because I understand that there's no danger of you getting that job.
25th year they're going to be together.
But my understanding,
called a lot of games.
I think you're remembering when that decision was made a little wrong.
I want to be very careful.
Because I remember that you were in a bit of limbo, Jonathan.
Yes. I'm not debating that. I was.
Yeah, and it went into the summer.
Yes.
It wasn't when they signed off. You knew that you weren't getting that job. There was limbo. Yeah. I was involved in it.
I know.
Because you would have left the show. There was a great deal of limbo. When he signed off, there was a very good possibility you were getting that job.
There was limbo. I agree.
We
were all limboed out.
We were doing the limbo.
We were all limboed out there.
You have to remember, guys, John was going to get the job, and he's on my show. So I know what was going on. So enough with the nonsense, Sean. Nonsense. I might be a clown and a dick and an untalented, drunk piece of crap, but I'll tell you this. I know that there was limbo with my guy, John, and that I didn't know if I had him or not well after that game was over.
You know how I feel about all you guys?
Yeah. Just I don't know what your effing problem is, dude, but just get over yourself. Jesus Christ. All right.
Aloha.
Now I know how good. I won't say it. All right. Very good. If you're listening, friend, I know now what you're talking about. Very good. Very good. All right, then we'll be right back.
Goodbye, everybody.
I love Cedric. Cedric, I love you. Cedric, I do love you. I know you won't say it back to me, but it's true. Andrew Callahan will join us.
It happens.
Andrew Callahan will join us in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the...
That thing exploded.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Yeah, I think they should ban it. You know what I mean? But I know the argument is going to be about like, hey, well, you guys have to stop it. Don't get us in short yardage and whatnot. But I mean, it's kind of like a Chico play, man.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Just one more thing that occurred to me during the break about the Grandy thing is that I had a conversation with someone here about the fact that Ryan and John might both be gone. Ryan Johnston for the Bruins, and John might be gone for the Celtics job.
Oh, yeah. So
you got to start thinking about who would be third Mike. So I'm not out of my mind. That happened. I mean, that happened. That doesn't happen unless there's a chance the guy's not keeping the job. Jesus Christ. I didn't think the audio was going to make me mad, and it made me mad. Do you see my point, or maybe not? Am I being crazy?
No.
I don't get why this lack of authenticity. I don't understand. Andrew Callahan is an authentic human being, a burgeoning star on the scene. Andrew Callahan, a reporter and columnist for the Boston Herald. Andrew, hello, sir.
Good morning, fellas. You need a backup play-by-play guy?
Do you think you could do play-by-play?
This is like telling your therapist, like I majored in psychology. Look at me sitting on the couch. But I did college play-by-play at UConn for 4 years.
Ooh. Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah. I had a great time with this. Some championships, College World Series, some big football games, believe it or not. So, yes, I think I can knock some rust off.
Is that what you wanted to do for a living, was be play-by-play?
No, but I didn't know that until later on. And in the meantime, just enjoyed incredible travel with what was a very small program with a big budget. So I had the time of my life basically anywhere but campus. I'm traveling to call UConn games. So I just got very, very lucky and stuck with it.
No, that's awesome. That sounds, and that's a great school to be doing it at. So that's cool. Even that baseball team's not bad at UConn. All right. Look, Andrew, listen, the draft is over. Things have settled, but now we are moving into the summer. What is on the plate for you and these New England Patriots?
So today is the first of 3 OTA, basically just voluntary, non-padded practices that the media will be allowed to watch, study, report, and write on. My guy, Doug Hyde at the Herald, had a great preview this week of like what we're looking for. And so ultimately, this isn't as significant as the mini camp they're going to hold June 9th to 11th. Where everyone has to be there, and it'll be more competitive, and a little bit more contact is going to be allowed than we'll see today and next Wednesday when we'll have the second practice. But, guys, it is a peak like we had last year. What's the new offense look like? How do the coaches interact? What does Drake May look like? Because this is officially year 2 now. And what does a guy like Stephon Diggs have? So it's a little peek into what we'll see for the rest of spring. Which is all we're going to have until training camp rolls around in a couple of months.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm very curious because you wrote about this guy last week. Will Campbell seems to have seamlessly fit in, and he has the attitude that Patriots fans certainly love. What's your impression of him here the first few weeks after getting drafted?
So Will Campbell is basically the love child in Louisiana that Mike Vrabel never had. Like, he is as Mike Vrabel and as Louisiana as they come. And I say that, and that his great-grandmother used to sit in the same seats at his high school watching football games, like before Pearl Harbor, as her daughter did and Will's mother did and he did. And so this is a guy who was bred to play football and has come into New England, not only as just your starting left tackle, but as the guy that Mike Vrabel wants to build his culture around. And talking to someone within the team the other week and right before the piece published, like they feel like he might be a captain very, very soon. I'm not saying as a rookie, but just keep in mind, even if that's next year, it's a second-year player who's 22 years old who come in and be a captain. And it took me a couple of weeks to figure out why, but it's all there in the story.
Okay. You mentioned second year for Drake May. Go back a few years. I was thinking that, Mac Jones, as everybody was saying, well, it's second year for Mac Jones, and he's going to get better. I had plenty of reservation about that because I knew the offensive coordinator was going to be changing, and I wasn't fully on board with the notion, because it's a fallacy, Andrew, that every rookie quarterback who has a decent year automatically has a better second year. I don't have the same trepidation about Drake May because I think, in terms of an OC, they're probably an improvement, or at the very least, they're not taking a huge step backward. But what are your indications? What are your thoughts about Drake May going in the second year? Should we be expecting improvement from him, or could it be one of those, if not a sophomore slump, at least maybe don't put your expectations up too high?
No, I mean, it's all system go on the Drake May hype train, Hardy, to be honest. And this even goes back to the combine where, again, I think Doug pulled this for our intel report coming out of the combine about what the Patriots are going to do in the draft and free agency. And he had someone tell him, Drake May and Mike Vrabel might be a top 5 quarterback coach combo in the league. And when you go to the other parts around them that are most important, you already named the offensive coordinator. I do think it is an upgrade going from Alex Van Pelt to Josh McDaniels for a couple of reasons. But another big obvious reason is the offensive line. Like, he can't get worse than the 31st pass protection offensive line in the league and the 32nd run blocking offensive line in the league. It's not just Morgan Moses and Garrett Bradbury who are fine, but it's Will Campbell and better depth around them. So when you give a kid better protection, you give him a more detailed, focused offensive coordinator, and better weapons whenever Stephon Diggs pops up, everything around him gets better. I don't see why a kid who's already been working in the offseason program and is naturally talented as he is, who showed he can survive like offensive football apocalypse for stretches last year, can't do better now when the ground underneath him is a little bit more stable. It's not shaking anymore.
So you're not going to panic if, there's still hiccups though, right? Like, I think Jaden Daniels has set kind of an unfair precedent. Oftentimes, like last year, it was anything we saw from him athletically in terms of anything we saw from athletically, we were just so impressed by. It wasn't even so much results based. It was just his ability to move in the pocket, his ability to throw on the run. Like, all of that was impressive, and you saw that there were skills there. But, this year, I think with the free agent additions and with the draft and the new coach, people are going to be expecting like actual results, wins, where do you draw the line? What's fair with your expectations with that, do you think, as a fan?
Yeah, it's a good question, Fred. And I think, honestly, Drake is still testing some of those limits, right? Whereas a rookie, you put that in the context of, he's going to have rookie mistakes or turnovers. If he turns the ball over at the rate that he did last year, that's going to be a problem in year 2. Because year 2 comes with expectations like you're talking about. So what he needs to show is improvement in that area, a little bit with the accuracy, I think, in terms of the decision-making. Because I'm not going to panic. Like Hardy references, Dak Prescott is a guy who had a down year 2 and then still rebounded and had a great career. So they are the exceptions to the rule. But for Drake May, I don't want to see an exception here when, again, we talk about everything around him, head coach, offensive coordinator, offensive line, has improved. So for him, you could say, I don't know, like a modest bump statistically, but also be the guy that's driving winning, not just the guy tying the game at the end of regulation in Tennessee, spectacular as that was. Win the game in overtime. Get it done. Do it against the Rams. Lead those final drives. That's what I want to see here in year 2.
All right. Hardy, I thought you had something.
No.
Okay, so today we're gonna talk to Mike Vrabel. We're gonna see practice, and all the videos that we've seen, Andrew, so far from Mike Vrabel have been pretty interesting, to say the least. I don't give an F about last year. Why would I give an F about last year? Is he really that seamlessly kind of taking over and moving everyone in his direction, or there have to be some bumps here in his first year back?
If there are bumps, he'll own them. Like, this is his show, Wallach. He's done this before. Even when he was in New England, the best part about Mike Vrabel was he was always going to be Mike Vrabel. And sometimes that meant getting in your face as a teammate or certainly a competitor. Other times, Michael Howley's written about this and told this story. It was interrupting Bill Belichick to ask about blowjobs in a team meeting. Like,
you can't say that. Whoa. Andrew.
You can't be doing that.
Saucy.
No, I think that's why you had me on this morning, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait, because we had to dump that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say that.
Very good.
All right, so what Andrew, the sex act part.
You can't say Belichick.
And you can't say Vrabel. You said Vrabel, there's a 5-time limit. What couldn't I say, you dumbass? What couldn't I say? You're saying that Belichick would interrupt, or Vrabel would interrupt Belichick at meetings to ask about oral sex.
One time, because Belichick was describing, and this is from Michael Holley's book. Everyone read it if you haven't. It's 20 years old now, Patriot Reign. But Belichick was describing how the media was going to prop you up. They're going to love you. They're going to do this. They're going to give you a certain sex act. And so Mike Vrabel raises his hand and says, Bill, but what are you talking about those certain jobs? And so, like, that's a guy, the point is, to Wallach's question, is the maximum comfortable in his skin. And he's in control, and he knows it, and he's an alpha personality. So however the Patriots play, it's going to be in his image. And none of this is fake, because it wasn't fake 25 years ago when he was a player here and trying to make the team after being cut by the Steelers. Like, this is just Mike Vrabel. It's always been Mike Vrabel.
Okay. Go ahead, Sean. Please,
let's move off of that subject.
I'm shook.
I'm still trying to recover a little bit.
And now it's not okay if it's the man doing it to a woman either. That you can't say that.
Right, we can't. So changing the subject
it's fair
entirely.
in both sexes.
Yes.
I don't know, Wallach. I feel like you set me up for that.
No. You did that all. You did that all to yourself.
This is a guy that did it. This guy's uncomfortable talking about Belichick with that youngster, and now here he is.
My goodness.
Talking about oral sex. My goodness.
I couldn't help but notice the contract that Brock Purdy signed with San Francisco, and I'll bring it back to the Patriots. Within the next year or 18 months, they're going to have to start talking to this kid about a contract. And if Brock Purdy gets $53 million a year, that's what this kid's going to get if he vaults into the stratosphere as you see him doing so.
Yeah, I mean, this is a problem that's 18 months away. Like, he's not extension eligible for another year and a half. But to your point, yeah, I mean, and that's part of the reason now. We've all been screaming about, the Crafts need to spend more. And honestly, a better barometer for that is like things like the team playing in the weight room than it is a salary cap, because there's a salary floor, right? But, after they're bottom in league over a 10-year span in terms of cash spending, and then they go nuts in 2021, they set the record again this year in 2024. That's got to continue, because you have this quarterback on a rookie contract. You did not take advantage of it with Mac Jones, who, let's be clear, they did not spend around him in 2022, his second year. They did not spend around him in 2023. And that probably doesn't keep them from disaster that ended up being those two seasons and last year. But to your point, like, that payday is coming. And the only reason it doesn't is if he collapses like Mac Jones, and nobody wants that. No one believes that's going to happen. So, yes, you better spend the money now and structure it in a way that when you have to pay Drake May, all those other contracts are kind of coming off your books.
Okay. Well, everyone.
Oh, boy.
Adam, I apologize for that, Adam.
Are we still shook in the studio?
No. It happens. It happens. I just do think it's funny that you're uncomfortable talking about Belichick's relationship, but yet you.
I'm not uncomfortable. It does not interest me to the level that it does you, Fred. Like,
well, then you're an idiot. You fool. You fool.
Fred.
You fool.
I came on this morning. I thought I was going to be like a dog getting medicine, where you would wrap peanut butter, like this Patriots talk, around the medicine, which was going to be forcing me to talk about Jordan Hudson again.
I don't want you talking about dogs and peanut butter either, Andrew, because you're going to take it to a weird place. And we've learned that you can't be trusted.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. If I can't be trusted on this show, then I guess I can't be trusted anywhere.
No, you can be trusted, but so much for the UConn broadcasting school. I mean, Jesus Christ. All right.
There's a bit in there.
What?
For this summer. I'll file that away. I was asking Wallach, this is a month ago, I think, when I was on for you, Fred, and he was talking about play-by-play guys who had the worst calls during the March Madness tournament. And I said, Hardy and I should come up with our own, but have them be even worse. It was like a summer play-by-play bit. Because I'll tell you this, too. This is not going to do me any favors, but I'm married now, so it doesn't matter. I used to do, like, play-by-play of people on dates at a restaurant, like, from afar. And it actually, it didn't flop. So there's stuff here if we want to workshop in the summer and leave the BJ talk to the side.
Okay, very good. He loves it.
He's really tiptoeing up to the edge now.
Yeah, you know what he is? He's Man Cow. Someone's been talking to Man Cow.
Wow.
All right. Look, Andrew, we appreciate it. Thanks so much for the time, sir, and we look forward to talking to you soon, having you in studio, filling in soon. Thank you for everything.
You got it. Anytime, guys.
All right.
See you.
Aloha. Aloha. All right. We'll be back. Hardy has got a big tournament coming up with Michael Felger against Gronkowski and Edelman. We'll talk about that in just a moment.
describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy is doing something very nice. He's taken his love and new. I actually think it's impressive that Hardy has picked up a new hobby. And I'm not being sarcastic. He's got the balls to go out there and try something new, which is difficult for me to do in my life. But Hardy's done this like pickleball thing, and even that I would be like ashamed that I'd feel very self-conscious out there because when I first didn't know how to play. But Hardy's doing it, and Hardy, you've turned this new passion into something to help the community.
Yeah, the Rob Gronkowski Youth Foundation. I got to get the exact thing here. I know I told you I had it.
Well, let's play the Felger thing, and then we can.
All right, yeah, but they're doing a fundraiser at Bossy, which is the new pickleball place in Natick. It's going to be on Wednesday, the 28th. It's from 5 to 8 p.m., and you can buy spectator tickets. But if you put together a team and you're the top fundraiser, you get to play against Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman, which is a great thing, and that's cool. As part of the promotion for it, they asked me if I would like to play and take on
Gronk and Edelman.
And I said, sure. I said, would you like us to set you up with a partner? And they're like, maybe a pickleball pro. And I said, that would be great because I am nervous about going up against two premier athletes, even though they're no longer play. I mean, we've seen Rob Gronkowski recently. The guy looks like he could still play football, and I imagine he's been able to take up pickleball and not have an issue with it. And Edelman is just an athlete. So I said, yeah, if you could put me with a pro, that'd be great. Well, that didn't happen, so they said instead, you can find your own partner. And I said, okay. Felger and I have talked before about playing, and he really likes the game. And to my understanding, played a lot and was into it. And I said, okay, this will be fun. That way we can both promote it. And I'm trying to raise money, too. And I've got the posted on the socials and on the show's socials. So if you want to donate, that'd be great. But at least we'll stand a chance to go up against Gronkowski and Edelman. I'm feeling less confident about that. And put it this way, Fred, I would be worried less if I thought Felger were worried more.
Okay.
And hearing him yesterday did not change the amount that I am worrying.
Okay, so here is Felger and Maserati and Jim talking about the upcoming pickleball, which is rare. They usually don't veer into these territories, but here we go.
Okay, you heard the ad there for the pickleball tournament coming up. This is particular interest to us. And not at the station, we want you to support the event. It's the second annual Pickleball for a Purpose. Visit the events page on 985thesportshub.com to learn about how you can get involved or support our team, which is Kitchen Nightmares. Kitchen Nightmares, that team consists of, do you know who? Have you heard this?
No.
Rob Hardy and myself.
No kidding.
Who are going to play and take on Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman.
Oh, nice.
So somehow, I said,
well, they don't.
How do they not know?
Well, Jim's not up, so I will give Jim credit.
Even through like talking in the office, we've been talking about this for how long?
Well, they do.
Maz listens to the show because he texts us. I don't know.
How do they not know that you are playing pickleball with Felger?
Well, because Felger doesn't speak.
Well, I don't know that they speak to each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't think it's this kind of vibe off air.
All right, fair enough.
From what I've heard, it's everyone gets along, but they get along by getting along. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Like, I don't think there's a lot of chit-chat off the mics.
Okay.
No pleasantries.
No.
Sure. All right.
I said I've gotten roped in. I want to do it. I'm happy to do it. But I play a little bit of pickleball, whatever. Have you ever played pickleball?
Yes.
Nope.
So you know there's rules.
Yes, I know those rules.
Like you can't go
Isn't it just like tennis for pussies?
Yes, but there's rules.
There's like
as opposed to the hardcore tennis players that are.
Oh, I love Jim.
The manly tennis players that are out there risking life and limb.
Jim's kind of right, but yeah, someone who was it? Oh, Keith Lockhart when he was in here, he asked me to play pickleball. He's like, "No, I play tennis." I'm like, "Oh, a man's man."
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this, is that the tennis players hate the pickleball players, as I would too, because you're taking over all the courts and, they're trying to grow the game and this and that. But now they have street tennis.
Right.
Which was a wise investment.
Isn't it just like tennis for pussies?
Yes, but there's rules.
There's like a volleyball helmet. You can't put the racket over the net.
No.
Oh.
Do you know what the kitchen is?
No.
Okay, then you've not really played.
I've played, but I don't know all the rules.
Okay, well, this is like the fundamental part of pickleball.
Okay, we'll go.
It's called the kitchen.
Okay, we'll just explain it then.
Okay, then
now you sound like one of the callers.
No, it's just you. Yeah, I played pickleball. What's
I
the kitchen?
haven't played competitive pickleball, but I played pickleball.
It's the kitchen. It's the fundamental thing of the game.
He's got a good point. I mean, if you're going to pretend that you know how to play pickleball, you got the kitchen.
Can't wait to find out what this is.
They both get so pissed at each other in 0 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's always simmering.
But that would explain the vibe, actually,
right there
that you were
below
talking about earlier.
Right below the boiling point, always.
But why would Maz not even be able, if he's played pickleball, to the implication, like not just is it infer
or could it be he hasn't and he just said to keep the conversation moving?
Well, then why would you do that? He'd just be like, no, I haven't played.
Yeah.
Like couldn't you just just think the kitchen was that area where it's boxed out?
It's like
kind of figure that out in your own head.
There's lines. There's a different color on the court. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, I think if you said kitchen, I'd be like, yeah. And you're like, what? And I think I could go, because I don't know it's called the kitchen, but I could go, yeah, that area where you're not allowed to hit the ball, or I think I would know that.
Yeah,
I would think I wouldn't know it was called the kitchen, but if you said the kitchen, I could figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm smarter than Maz.
Okay, then
now you sound like one of the callers.
No, it's just you. I played pickleball. What's
I
the kitchen?
haven't played competitive pickleball, but I played pickleball.
It's the kitchen. It's the fundamental thing of the game.
Okay, well, what is it?
You can't step inside the kitchen unless the ball's in there.
Is there an actual line there?
Yes, there's a line there. I doubt whether you've ever really played, if you're asking me these questions.
No, I've played.
So it's a big wiffle ball.
I know what it is.
But when you tend to play big, aggressive, dumb men,
yes,
all they do is go into the kitchen because see ball, hit ball.
Yeah.
So it's on Wednesday. So
you're going to have to bang out like Cora.
I'm coming in. And hopefully we're not playing right at 5. If we're playing right at 5, I'm going to leave at 4. If we're playing at 7, I'm going to leave at 6. I'm going to...
No, Murray got it right, like Cora.
That's actually funny. That's very funny. I'm on Felger's side in that. What the hell are you talking about? You can't even figure out what the kitchen is.
But do you understand that I'm a little worried that he's just assuming Rob Gronkowski is going to play the game like a big lunk, and he has no understanding of the rules, and we'll be able to exploit it just by playing, this little dink and dunk game, and that we will beat them with finesse.
You mean when everyone runs up to the net and you try and use angles?
Okay, can I give you an example of how I would handle this? Is that I had to play bocce ball in a tournament that included David Pastrnak.
Mm-hmm.
We got so sick of playing bocce ball that my friend and I tried to throw the game against Pastrnak just to get it over with. And he refused, to the point where he was using people's belts as measuring tools to measure the distance between balls. My feeling with the pickleball thing against the two of them is that everyone's watching us. Let's put on a little show and get this over with as soon as possible. Okay. And not in a negative way.
Right.
If the winning and losing part honestly wouldn't even come into play. I wouldn't want to look like an a-hole. I wouldn't want to make a million mistakes.
That's number one. You don't want to go out there and embarrass yourself.
Right, exactly. And also to respect kind of the event, to be honest with you, because it's a charity event, I wouldn't go out there and I'd not try. But so if I tried hard and was able to had functionality during the game, that would be enough for me. Because I would be I don't want to embarrass the game or disrespect the game. This is for charity. People paid to be here. I'm going to try.
Yeah.
But I don't want to if I didn't hit everything out or get destroyed, I wouldn't care. Winning and losing wouldn't really matter to me. But I could understand that is that what you're nervous about? Is that Felger's so confident that he doesn't he's going to screw up and you guys aren't even going to get a point?
Yeah,
and it's going to look stupid.
And he said one thing there about the rules that he's not completely right on. So I'm not sure that Felger has a 100% understanding of the rules.
What is that?
Well, he said you can't step in the kitchen unless the ball is in there. Untrue. You can go stand in the kitchen all you want.
I knew that.
It's dumb to do that. You don't want to, but I'm just. All I wanted to do was play once with him like this week or even early next week, just to get a feel for each other's game a little bit. And he's like, no, that's a mistake. That's a mistake. We're not doing that.
All right. Well, look, that was a great break by them, and I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun, and I'm glad that you're doing it. We will be back in just a moment. We have a doctor.
Oh, sweet.
To go over
Nice.
this with
Good,
us.
good,
So
good,
we will
good,
be
good.
back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more.
Cup. We'll have it on our HD2 channel at 7:30. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. With over 50 trucks on the road, because your clogged drain is their emergency, go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Hey, if your alarm clock sounds like this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
Toucher and Hardy. We have Tom Karen on, all right. Take your phone calls. If you want it, Fred and Rob, if you want to call back at 8:40, I would love to take your phone calls. I can't now because we are under the gun, and I don't want to push Tom Karen too far. He's nice enough to join us today. Look, Dan Lifshitz does not like me, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't either. In all seriousness, I don't blame him. I wouldn't like me either if I was him. And the thing is that I am, if you wanted to ask me honestly, and I'll be completely honest right now, I would be worried if I was a friend of Dan's. And here's why. Is that I got rid of Twitter and completely, and I've made my own mistakes on Twitter. I've been ambient Fred on Twitter. I've been, put stuff that got like a wellness checks on me on Twitter. Yeah, I've done a lot.
Yeah.
So, look, this is not a glass house. I have made my mistakes on Twitter. So I got rid of my Twitter account 2 years ago. But I don't even have dummy accounts anymore, like to look at Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
got rid of the lurker stuff.
Like I got rid of everything, so I couldn't even get on Twitter if I wanted to.
Interesting.
Because I just think it's awful. But from when I was on Twitter, and my understanding still is that Lifshitz is up at all hours of the night arguing with people on Twitter, and I don't care what the situation is. That's not good. It's just not a good thing to do mentally. And, if you're going to be, and apparently this audio we're about to play, Dan's made a lot of really positive life improvements, which in all sincerity, that's great. But this Twitter stuff, it's really not good. You got to calm that down. But Dan has lost a tremendous amount of weight. Should I bring the doctor on first, Adam? Or before we play this, so she can hear it.
I told her she can be listening on hold, and that she can respond to the audio afterward. But if you want to bring her on to introduce her and then put her on hold, that's fine.
No. I would like just to have her up.
Let's
during
get her
this
up.
whole
Let's
thing.
get her up now, right now.
Oh, I just hung up on her.
Okay, let's get her back on the line.
I figured, why not hang up on her?
All the trouble just to get her here, and then
I'm used to being able to lock them in on the phone, Adam.
I know. That's okay.
You know what it was? Honest mistake. HM.
That's right.
I'm admitting it, and I'll take the punch.
HE, human error.
I'm only human. I've been in this business.
Everybody.
I've been in this business long enough to know not to hang. You don't hang up on guests.
No.
I didn't do that on purpose. All right. When we get her on, can you lock her in? Because I would like to talk to her first. It's my fault. This delay is happening.
Nick is having a hard time getting her on.
Of course. Way to go, Freddie.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Aloha.
And I wish I kept the phone callers on now, because I could have killed this time with the phone callers.
We can kill time with this.
Goodbye, everybody.
That's a combination of
Goodbye, everybody.
and
I gotta go pee.
So this is the shutdown song. This is Cedric Maxwell shutting down Grandy's self-serving maudlin sign-off.
so you combine those two things and you get
Goodbye, everybody. I gotta go pee.
It's brilliant.
Wow.
I love it.
Is that Ryan, or did you do that?
that's Billy and Ryan.
Yeah, that's
good.
that's
Buddy
Bohemian
of ours.
shutdownsy.
Okay.
Buddy of ours.
Sure.
They just what the hell's going on now?
It's going to voicemail. So let's just
Oh,
go to the
Jesus
audio,
Christ,
and then
lady.
we'll get her back on.
Oh, you're the one who hung up on her.
Yeah, but I know enough to get off the phone. I mean, Jesus Christ, you're not on the phone.
She might think that
She's a nutritionist, Fred. Show some respect.
I don't know. She's not representing very well. I admitted my error, but now it's time to get off the phone, honey. Let's go.
We'll get to the audio
So
and we can get her back on the
disrespectful.
line.
Well, she's an herbalist. I mean, I don't want to be overly disrespectful. All right, so this is Dan just talking about losing weight.
What are you now, though? I'm a 4X comfortable, but I Winnie the Pooh a 3X.
I am a tight XL now.
So I got your double X. You'd be good to go.
Okay, yeah, double XL will be good. I'm a tight XL, so
And you could wash it a couple of times.
I've been wearing stuff that I wore freshman, sophomore year.
No, for real though. How much weight have you lost?
170-ish pounds.
Whoa! Wow.
Yeah. To be fair, I gained about 5 to 8 back during the winter. So
you lost 170 pounds?
Yeah.
Without drugs?
Yes. I did not use those Epic or anything.
I know.
Yeah. No,
And that's amazing, and that's great, and good for Dan. We really can't get this lady back on the phone?
No.
So hanging up on her was catastrophic for this segment.
Yeah,
Apparently.
nice going. Nice going, Fred.
I don't understand how one's phone, just because you got hung up on, now doesn't operate.
Does your phone ever do that to you, like in your house, where it just won't make calls or you can't accept calls? You ever get that little glitch on your iPhone?
Occasionally, but not like right when I've just gotten off the phone. Like, we're not connected to her in any way. Like, I don't understand how, even if she thought she was on the line,
eventually,
like, you're not on the line
look
anymore.
at the phone if you.
Well, no, but the phone would be off.
That's my
like,
point.
Like it's been hung up on. The phone is no longer engaged.
wonder if.
And why are we not connected with her?
Well, I wonder
I don't
if.
know. That's my
because you hung up on her.
I have taken responsibility for hanging up on
This
her.
is something that happens too, though. Like if you take a call from an unknown number, right, and then that number keeps calling, it could be that her line is picking ours up as spam now and sending us directly.
You're not helping.
Voicemail.
Don't.
Nick's trying.
12.
Is it ringing,
Oh,
Nick?
there we go. I think he finally got through.
Is it even ringing?
No, it was going straight to voicemail.
Jesus Christ! I
Yes.
hear him talking.
Yes, we have.
All right, you put her on. I
all
won't
right,
touch
here
a
we go.
thing.
Locking in, and there we go.
All
Up
right.
and live.
Christine.
Thank God.
Yes, good morning.
All right.
Hi, Christine.
I hung up on you by accident, but then it was the whole situation getting you back on the phone.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
What were you doing with the phone that we couldn't get back to you?
Well, I'm on vacation. So
Where are you?
I'm in an amazing place called Cedar Key, Florida, on the West Coast.
Oh.
And it's very remote. And, yeah, it's a little bit of peace and quiet and much needed rest.
Okay, are you like a hippie kind of doctor that is like into like healing and like sound baths and things of that nature?
Okay, well, first of all, I have to admit I am not a doctor, right? So I'm a licensed and board certified registered dietitian.
Okay.
And yes, so but I would say if you ask my friends, they would say I lean toward the hippie camp, but not all the way. I follow kind of middle of the road there.
Okay. So because there are very real benefits of yoga, and so you do that, and
yeah.
And you are a dietitian. And are you like a vegan dietitian? How do you suggest people should eat? I have to get a read on you.
Okay, so that answer depends on the person.
Okay, but
Right?
are you strictly like a
Yeah.
vegan? Do you push people to being vegan? Okay, all right. So I just wanted to get okay. Not that there's anything wrong with being vegan. I just wanted to know if that was kind of like your mantra. All right, I want you to listen. We're going to have you up the whole time. This is a guy that works at this station, Dan Lifshitz. Now, he lost 170 pounds, so that's great. And he really did do that. And I want you to hear this, and I want your takes on this. Not so much a doctor that knows about... Do you know about cells? The human cells?
Sure.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so good. All right, so here we go.
I ground every day. I put my feet on the ground. I ground and take the shirt off, get some sun every day.
Okay, so I want to talk to you about this quickly, Christine. When you hear the term grounding, what does that mean to you?
Grounding to me means when we make contact with the earth and the earth's energetics. So basically, we are magnetic and electrical beings, human beings, that conduct electricity to function. And as you ground by contacting the earth, you're basically, stabilizing the electrical charges and kind of, you can really think of it almost like when you have a ground wire, right? It stabilizes and reinforces the current electricity. And when we're grounding with the earth, and this has been, in publications in PubMed, and lots of research has been done on this, but it's basically allowing us to rebalance our systems. It's aiding that process, right? It doesn't do it on its own.
Where'd you go to college? Where'd you go to college?
So in Boston area. I went to Framingham State University.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
I ground every day. I put my feet on.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, in the Boston area, I think Framingham State University has the biggest and most reputable dietetics program. So it's really big. Yeah.
What's their grounding program like?
There is no grounding program.
You picked this up on your own?
Biochemistry. No, we learned human nutrition, nutritional biochemistry.
So did they talk to you about grounding in your biology classes?
Definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's nothing that, course curriculums are probably going to cover. But when you
Because
are
it's
in...
not real.
Well, it is, though, because you have to look at the chemistry of it, and it shows up in the chemistry. That's really where it happens.
Okay.
So we know that our cells have gatekeepers, and certain functions are allowed to happen because of positive and negative charges. And so when you look at the earth, the properties of the earth, and even like the ocean air, right, has negative ions coming, which we also know are beneficial to health. So these positive
So wait. So not having shoes on in the dirt is positive for your health.
Absolutely.
Okay, so why were agrarian cultures, why did they die so young?
Well, I'm not sure that that's the case. Where are you getting that info
What
from?
was the life expectancy of someone in 1850 on a farm?
Oh, so there's a lot of inputs there why the mortality would be at an earlier age, right? We had a much harder life. We had less advanced medicine. People were isolated more and didn't have assistance from others all the time. So I think there's so many inputs to that.
So, but the one thing they were getting right,
that.
the one thing they were getting right was the dirt thing.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not. I want to almost say it's not even up for debate because there's so much research, even over 10 years worth of research that you can
10 years
see. Yes,
wow.
Like there are publications going back. I know at least it's like 2015 that are in PubMed, and it explains really this whole process. But if you look at the body by chemistry, and you understand the relationship between the human body and the earth, we see it now not only in these kind of electrical ways, but even the microbes of the earth that will enhance our resilience and our health by helping to support our gut microbiome, and from when you're a child, if you're outside playing in the dirt, you end up being a much healthier adult because of your resilience. And then our whole body being electrical and running on, different electrical reactions, it makes sense. The earth is metal. The earth it's a grounding substance. So really the relationship is pretty strong there.
All right. Well, thank you. Look, you're on vacation. I appreciate the information. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Christine.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was fun. Thanks for chatting.
There
All
you
right.
go.
Take
Bye.
care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. A swing and a miss.
We didn't even get to the stuff that he was eating.
Do you really?
You went down the earthing path.
Because it was the literal worst person you could have on. It was a doctor in no way, shape, or form.
You insisted on a guest for this segment.
Oh, shut up, Adam. Don't put it on me, you jackass. I said a doctor, not an herbalist and a dietitian.
A whole scenario for you and Hardy yesterday.
I said I wanted. I was away. I said I wanted a doctor.
Well, so
Don't
was
put it on
she.
me. She's not. She's not That's not a doctor. That's someone with a Framingham State degree in history.
I didn't say she was a doctor. I said she was a nutritionist and an herbalist and a yoga instructor, and that she could speak on these subjects.
The real problem here is that there's 6 of us, and not one of us knows a real doctor. That's the real issue.
There's a problem.
You put a hippie on. You booked a hippie. I mean,
she said she was hippie adjacent. She said that she kind of runs up the middle, and I have to admit, I'm firmly in the camp of listening to this audio made me think that someone's spending a little bit too. I'm glad that Dan, I don't know him. I've never met him. I'm glad he lost this weight and he's making healthy choices.
12 knew exactly who she was, and he's in total lockstep with her.
For a second here. I feel like this is a gentleman like you were referring to, Hardy, Fred, rather, that spends far too much time online reading this stuff.
Okay, so can I say one thing? I did say that I specifically asked for someone who wasn't a hippie. I did. I think I might even done that on air. I wanted like a scientist, a doctor.
No, what?
Someone with a biology background.
Your wish was to have somebody on who would refute everything that Dan said.
No, my wish was to have a doctor on to listen to it and then speak in clinical terms, not about energy. You know exactly what the point of the bit was. If the person said this is a valuable thing that he's doing, then I would have gone, that's great. But at least they could have described it like as in a scientific way.
You wanted someone with more scientific and medical
I wanted someone, I don't know, with a medical degree.
I think, I think had we gotten to more of the actual audio, when he gets to the part where he's talking about eating 12 pounds of red meat every day, she may have had something to say about that.
But it just couldn't have been, it was just like it was a female Dan. We got a female Dan.
No, Dan I don't think so.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Adam.
She was actually referencing like
how about
medicine and things like that.
How about this? I know what we needed, and it was not her. We needed a doctor.
We couldn't get a doctor, so you got to go with the next best thing.
No, you don't. You do nothing. You don't do the bit. We do Nick's bit.
I said in the meeting this morning we don't have to have anybody on, and you insisted that we have somebody on.
I was under the assumption this was a doctor.
You looked at the sheet.
You just put the sheet in front of me. You just put the sheet in front of me right before I got there.
We told you who the person that emailed
I assumed it was a doctor. That was my assumption. I apologize for assuming that. But no, I don't want a hippie. I don't want any hippies on the show. There's no hippie zone.
Always hate hippies. They'll sell you bad drugs.
I think you gave her too much rope, and you were feeding into her energy.
I asked, what does grounding mean to you? And I thought she was going to say it was like a meditative thing where you're grounded. Yeah. You're like, even if she said your spirit is grounded, I would have given that a pass.
I was expecting that too, but
she actually went to like
Dan does.
I mean, it was what we might as well just have Dan on.
Yeah. I don't think he wants to come on.
Well, I don't want him on either, but Jesus Christ.
Well, you got to get, at least we know who the next guest is going to be. At least we know we can count on TC.
Hachi Machi. I said no hippies. And then you got me someone at a hippie place doing hippie stuff.
If Earth is metal, you need to be barefoot. It's very important.
Oh, my goodness. All right, very good. No more hippies.
I think that was a complete success. I think that was going to be our highest rated segment of the show.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I wish, you know what, that God was telling me hang up on her. That's what God was doing.
But you didn't hang up. You're asking her follow-ups. I'm like, just play the Dan stuff.
How about this? That was as good as that was going to go.
Oh, no, I disagree.
No, if we had a doctor, it would have gone great. That, I protected us. Believe me. Oof. Believe me. All right.
I no longer want your protection. I'm not paying that protection money anymore.
All right, then you're leaving yourself vulnerable for assassination. It's like getting rid of the Secret Service. All right, we'll be back with Tom Caron in just a moment.
The Sports Hub.
Yeah, we know that we've got really good pitching staff, so we're just trying to, get our pitches and do our thing, and it just happened to work out for us really often.
You know what? I got to call Jerry Stasnopoulos. I have a friend who's a doctor from high school, but he lives in Denver, and he's a doctor, so I don't know when he can come on the air.
Well, if he lives in Denver, he's also a hippie, so that kind of, undercuts everything.
I don't need someone to agree with me. I just need someone to be a doctor that has a science background, not Framingham State.
Let's see if we can get him on at 9 tomorrow.
Our friend Timma says this was the equivalent of having Jordan Hudson on to discuss philosophy. Next time, book Nicholas's doctor that lives 100 miles away. I'm gonna have to tape something to the wall that says "No hippies" back there. Every time a hippie gets in the mix, everything gets thrown off. You bring a hippie into a situation, and it's gonna blow everything up. That was God punishing me for making fun of the Grateful Dead so long. He tried to help me. A spirit tried to help me when I accidentally hung up on her. How many times did I say no hippie in these meetings?
I don't ever recall you saying the words no hippies.
Adam, how many times did I say no hippies?
What Hardy just said.
Oh, BS. You guys suck. Off air, I'm right. Right. All right. Hey, David Fred, stop being a tantrum-taking effing child today.
Yeah.
You and Hardy have a great show.
Yeah. John from Burrowville, honestly, this is a new standard of Fred being a dick for no reason.
Good morning. You deserve a medal for putting up with Fred today. He was a rude a-hole the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Appreciate what you have, for Christ's sake.
What? Is that an email or is that just you?
I think that was just
that's
Fred.
PJ. No, that was just me. Appreciate what you have. That's what I was saying. All right. Tom Karen, our good friend from Nesson. Hello, Tom.
Good morning. I don't want to interrupt the hippie talk.
No, it was. Do you know any doctors?
Yeah.
Okay, because we don't. It's really sad.
Between the six of us,
this has been a problem for about 48 hours.
Yeah, we've been racking our brains for a doctor, and all of us are completely at a loss. It's really sad that a group of middle-aged men don't know one doctor. And now, of course, a doctor is called in, but it's too late now. The ship is sank, Tom. You're saving the day. You are our life raft. So here we go.
I'm not a doctor, and I don't play one on TV, so let's go.
All right. A lot has been, not a lot, I guess, some issue has been made of Cora taking the day off yesterday. And so it was his daughter's graduation. It was on in the morning. How, since you've been covering the Red Sox forever, how often do managers take a day off for something personal?
Yeah, they do. I mean, and the one that jumps out to me, if you remember, John Farrell missed a game once to go watch his son make his major league debut for another team. He was pitching, I believe, for the Kansas City Royals. And I remember that, that was one that I sort of scratched my head on, because now you're talking about going to see another. He literally sat at another major league ballpark and watched a game. So you can't play it both ways in sports today, right? You give the freedom, the players get to miss things as they should. We know we talk so much about mental health. We talk so much about the grind of these things. I had absolutely no problem with Cora missing it to see his daughter's graduation. It was one game, and they won. So in the end,
so they
there's
should
really
be
nothing
fired.
to complain about.
I mean, they don't even need them.
There is that. It's great, and this is such a baseball thing, but the win goes on Alex Cora's all-time record.
Oh, it does? That's funny.
That's
even
really?
though he didn't do it.
Oh,
yeah.
my God. Yeah, Ramon Vasquez gets nothing for it. I mean, I'm sure you get a nice bottle of wine or something from Cora, but he gets nothing for it.
Don't you think if you were Vasquez, you'd want that? Like, if you go to Baseball Reference,
I want the 1-0 record.
Yeah, you have 1,000.
Well, yes, I would.
Yeah, I'd actually want that.
Then we actually had a great. I was with Ramon right before the game, and we just going down these weird rabbit holes. Like, he honestly didn't know who would take over if he got ejected last night.
Oh, really?
He's like, yeah, boy, we better go talk about that. And then the other part was, we got talking about that. Why don't you get the win or the loss? And then we went, what happens if you come in during a game because the guy gets ejected? And then Ramon was like, I don't know. If it's before the fifth inning, should I get it? If it's after the fifth inning, do I not get it? And I think That's why it just all goes to the manager.
That would be so funny if he went out like first inning and just started arguing balls and strikes. Like if he was chirping from the dugout.
It just gets ejected, and they're all like scratching their heads in the dugout, like looking at each other. You go. No, you go.
No, you make Devers player chief.
I'm in charge.
And he says, no, I will not be the manager.
Or better yet, he goes, I'm third. I'm playing third.
That's right.
Yeah, we got a substitution.
My lineup card.
Yeah, he's like, Bregman, you're on first. I'm playing third. I'm going to shake things up around here. Go ahead, John.
No, this team, we started talking about the players. This team is far more talented than it was last year, Tom. They can't get out of their own way. Why and how much is the manager to blame for this?
I don't think it's the manager to blame. I think it's the pitching. I mean, the pitching is supposed to be better than it's been. Simple as that. We had a graphic last night. They have the third most games where the pitcher didn't make it through 5 innings in Major League Baseball. And the two above them are Chicago, and I forget who the other one was, but they're both Baltimore. They're both awful. And so it's the starting pitching. It's supposed to be better. Walker Buehler comes back tonight. He'd been pitching really well before the bursitis in the shoulder. Tanner Houck has been awful, and so he's on the injured list now. He's no pitcher in Red Sox history has ever had 2 starts where he gave up 11 earned runs, and he's done it. It's not Memorial Day yet. And so they got to figure out some things on the pitcher side. Last night, it was the plan in advance, but Hunter Dobbins was pitching really well, just his 5th Major League start. He was only 66 pitches, but as soon as he got through the lineup a second time, he was out of the game, and that was by design because he struggled to get guys out a third time. So I feel like they're getting on top of what to do with the staff. Justin Slayton came in. He has struggled. He's really good last night, got 4 outs. So it's the pitching right now. Now, if it doesn't get better, then you start to point fingers, but they should pitch a hell of a lot better than they have so far.
Okay, so there's an article in the Globe today by Peter Abraham that the Red Sox need to make changes and they need to make them quicker. The season is going to slip away from them. Do you agree with that sentiment, and what would need to be done?
The only thing I disagree on that sentiment is that I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're close. I remember talking to some people at the beginning of this homestand. This is the longest homestand of the year. It's 10 games. They're 4 games into it. And there was a feeling that if this homestand got by everybody and they were still struggling, then they might have to start thinking about doing something. And something might be what we're seeing, right? Christian Campbell's taking ground balls at first base. Does that mean Marcelo Meyer comes up? Is it Meyer and Anthony coming up somehow? I don't think there's going to be firings here because as much as they've struggled, they're still a game under 500 and 4.5 out of first, right in the wild card. It's not like they've fallen out of the race like the Baltimore Orioles have.
Well, no, you can't fire the manager. I mean, they just
well,
extended
even anything,
right?
Yeah, I think the changes are going to have to be on the field, and I think the obvious ones are Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony. Both of them getting a chance now. If you move Campbell, I watched Campbell taking a lot of ground balls at first base yesterday. He didn't play. He put in a long day working out there, and he's fine. Like I think it hasn't been real good anyway, so throw him out there, and that would allow you to bring Meyer up, who's been playing second base in Worcester, probably going to be better defensively than Campbell is at second base. So you're getting another bat in the lineup. You're getting better defensively. I mean, that's an easy change. But I just think, last night was a really good win. Mets are a first-place team. They're struggling right now. But Senga's been arguably the best pitcher in baseball as a starter. His 1.02 ERA. They scratched out 3 runs. They played good defense. They got a win. Now, can you build on that? I don't know. Saturday night, they got a walk-off win. I said, can you build on that? And then they were awful Sunday. So that's what's been frustrating about this team. They can't string together a few wins. They got to do it this week. Or I think, you'll be a third of the way through the season. Sunday's the third mark of the season, 54 games.
All right. I don't want to brag, but I threw out the first pitch in Worcester a couple Sundays ago. So,
how'd it go?
Oh, I mean, I nailed it. The crowd was intense. It was almost too much.
Was the pitcher on the mound behind you? Was the pitcher on the mound behind you?
No, it was my son and I, and we were in front. I had to throw the ball 20 feet. It was not a difficult exercise.
Well, like the first time I threw out a pitch, it was up in Portland, and in the majors, like you're the only one out there. In the minors, most of the time, the starting pitcher's already on the mound waiting, and the dude was like, "Can we just get this? Can you get the hell out of the way so I can pitch?"
Yeah, I would have
like,
been.
It was such a get in, get out, let's go.
Yeah, I was fortunate that was not the case. I can tell you there was no great ovation. But when I was there was a reason I brought that up. Is that A, to make fun of myself, and B, to tell you that when I was there, like I was talking to guys that were covering the game, and their take was Meyer is such like a fantastic defensive shortstop that the team would be reticent to like not play him there. Have you heard anything like that? Like if Meyer comes up, which he's ready to do in probably time, is there any way Meyer plays short and not second? Because he's so good at that position.
I would doubt that would happen right away because Story is really good defensively. He's been struggling at the plate. He did drive in a run last night. But Story's good defensively. And so, I don't know, flipping Story to second base to make room for Meyer, I don't think that happens right away because I watched Meyer. Listen, I would argue that Marcelo Meyer was the best player at spring training. And that's not the best prospect. He was the Red Sox best player. Like, he was phenomenal. And he's so good defensively. But I think that transfers to second base. I watched a little bit of him play second base over the weekend, and he looked really good.
No, he could play second. It's just that shortstop's a more important position. And if you put him there, he has that ability.
But I would push back, and TC, you know this. When Story played second base a couple of years ago, he was a Gold Glover over there.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but that was, remember there was worry about his arm there. That's not the worry this year. He's been really good at short. He has been good defensively. So, I mean, I get it. But
do you have a problem with it,
here's
do you
the problem
think?
with that. You have...
Yeah,
I don't think, no, not knowing Story, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who'd have a problem. But it's a lot easier to do that in the offseason than it is mid-season.
Right.
So I think if I'm calling up Meyer, I'm putting him at second base. He'll be good there. Story's good at shortstop. Bregman's good at third. You got a really good infield all of a sudden. And then in the offseason, that's when you have the conversation, hey, it's his time now. We got to move you over.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you're asking people to move all over the place as it is. It's
it does get. I mean, there comes a point where you got to stop moving everybody, right?
Yeah, I know.
mean,
it's odd that they put themselves in such a pickle with the first base situation. It's really weird,
unconscionable that they didn't solve that during spring training.
Yeah,
listen, I'm telling you what. This is a textbook example that other major league teams are going to look at in the future, and the Red Sox will too, of how you don't handle a situation communication-wise. Like from the start, right? Like from the offseason when you didn't talk to him about third base, how you let that be a thing at spring training, how you let this be a thing, like from the start. You know, he's your highest paid player. You got to find a way to communicate with this guy and let him understand what's going on, and they clearly didn't do that.
All right. Well, Tom, it's always great to have you on. Does a great job at Nesson. And I watched the MLB network, not the network, but the other local broadcast. Tom is the best studio host. You guys have the best studio show by far. And of all the major league teams, I truly believe that. I mean that with all my heart. And so
I'd clip that and bring that into my next contract negotiation, but I don't know that it would help.
I carry a lot of weight around these parts as
yeah.
a media critic, so I'll tell you that. But, Tom, you do a great job, as always. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
I appreciate that. Find a doctor.
Well,
please.
If you know one, dude, text Adam, because it's a real problem.
The doctors I know, I trust our relationship. I'm not sending them to you. Thanks.
It's really a benign thing. All right. Thank you, Tom. I think that's part of the reason we're having such problems with the doctor. There's a doctor on hold. I think my instinct is to let go of this segment and just let it ride. Just let it be.
Let it fall,
let it fall into
away
the
in
abyss.
wind.
Probably smart.
You know, like a balloon that you let go. Like when you burn the steps, the thing.
Goodbye, potentially good 8 o'clock bit.
Yes, goodbye.
Farewell.
And if it's my fault, it's my fault. What can I tell you? I get very nervous around hippies. I don't know what they're going to say. They could go sideways.
Mm-hmm. You sure talked to her enough.
I didn't want to be.
You really engaging that
I
woman.
didn't want to hang up on her because then I thought I'd really come off as a dick. I probably should have just hung up on her.
I think it was 6 of one, half dozen of the other at that point.
Yeah, I was gonna lose either way.
I'm glad you didn't hang up on her. Was the polite thing to do.
I wasn't gonna hang. I mean, she was nice enough to come on. I wasn't gonna hang up on her. She didn't do anything wrong. I mean, she's just a hippie. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, you're allowed to be a hippie.
She's listening to the show on vacation. She's a fan.
Well, good. She's also a hippie. What do you want out of me? She wasn't right for that bit. I appreciate her coming in, but she wasn't right for the segment. That's all. That's all. Maybe it's my fault. Who knows? All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headline.
Okay, we ready?
What happened?
I don't know. We got him on?
Yep.
All right, what's this fella's name?
This is DJ.
DJ. DJ.
What's up, boys?
What's up? All right, so you are a doctor.
Absolutely.
A physician with a medical degree.
100%.
Okay, a doctorate. How many years of school and residency did you do?
4 and 3.
Okay, 4 years of school. Wait, 4 years of school and then 3 years of residency. 4 years of undergrad and then how long to get your doctorate?
No. 4 years of medical school, 3 years of residency, 4 years of undergrad before that. Yes.
Okay, my question is this: why do none of us know any doctors? What do you guys do in your social lives that removes you so far from us? That is my question. Oh, the phone doesn't.
Great.
We are absolutely snake bit this morning.
Doing paperwork all day.
All right, okay, you're doing paperwork. All right, look it. I want to have you on the show. Can Nick get your number?
I'm here.
All right. Okay, your phone's breaking up. Your phone's breaking up. Nick, just get his information and tell him to get another phone, and maybe today something will go right for us. But that's a medical degree.
I wouldn't count on that.
No.
That's a medical degree. 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of medical school, 3 years of residency.
Yeah.
That's 11 years. Jesus, now I'm thinking of other doctors I know. They just don't live in Boston. I was too regimented in my thinking. Fred, hello. Fred.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up?
No, I just wanted to say that the way that Felger's talking about Gronk and pickleball is completely wrong. He's been playing for years. I played with his brother. His brother's like a solid 4.0. Gronk is good. He's played around here, so the way he not knowing the rules is not a possibility. And then you have Edelman, who clearly is going to spend every minute playing pickleball because his mentor there, Brady, invested in the pickleball team. So those two are going to be ready to go. You guys are probably dead.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that it can be embarrassing, Fred, for them? Because, losing is of no shame, but this is a charity pickleball event. They're playing Gronkowski and Edelman. It's Felger and Hardy, if you don't know. And the idea in my head is, it to be competitive enough where, the audience is, it's something to enjoy. It doesn't, you look like you're trying. Do you think it will get to a point where the two of them, it will just get embarrassing?
Yes. From what I've heard, Hardy plays a decent amount, so he'll probably be able to hold his own. If you lose, and the games do 11, if you lose 11-5, 11-6, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I think due to Felger, you're looking at 11-0, 11-1, 11-2, and yes, that will definitely be embarrassing.
See, you understand. Yeah, and when I play, I feel the same way. If I'm going to lose to better players, if we score 5, I feel okay about it.
Right.
That's not an embarrassment. Anything less than that is embarrassing.
Yeah, okay.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, Fred, well, that's good information. That's good scouting. So Gronkowski's brother is very good. Edelman.
And so is Gronk.
And Edelman obviously kisses Brady's ass, and Brady's got a big pickleball thing.
See, this is the problem. If Gronk does understand the rules, number one, you're not going to be able to hit drop shots over him and try and play the back line on him. And if you do play that kitchen game, he can stand a foot back from the kitchen and reach in. He won't even have to set foot in the kitchen because his reach is it's such that he'll be able to play that game easily.
Well, to be honest, if we're being honest, someone of Gronkowski's size really shouldn't be playing pickleball. Pickleball is designed for people that don't have that kind of reach and that kind of...
Well, that's what I was going to say, too. Gronk is so big, and Hardy, if you've played enough, anybody who's tall has a huge advantage because you have the angle. You can just smash anything with an angle. Gronk is huge, and I'm telling you right now.
I tell you something else that sucks, not to cut you off, but the short people have an advantage too because they can hit just line drives over the net. They don't even have to hit a topspin shot. They can just hit stuff at torso level, and those shots are hard to return too. So Edelman, that little squirt, he's got an advantage for being short, and Gronk's got one for being tall. We're screwed.
I'll tell you this.
But the main point is that Gronk absolutely knows the rules, won't be jumping in the kitchen, big guy smash or whatever. Whatever Felger was saying is 100% incorrect.
All right. Well, good. Thank you, Fred, for that information. And the thing is that you're playing with Felger, too, who they probably knew crapped on him the whole time.
I thought of that, and they're going to be at least they'll be looking to dot him, because that's another thing. It's not dangerous. You're not going to get hurt unless you blow your Achilles out, but it's double embarrassing when you toss up a softball to somebody and throw them a real meatball, and then they go to smash it. And most of the time you're trying to hit it at somebody's feet or, split the middle on two players. But every once in a while you peg somebody. Who do you think they're going to be trying to hit? Hopefully Felger, not me.
You would think so. But also, I think that they would be getting on Felger pretty good. Yeah, maybe there's a statement to be made.
Oof.
Do you have to play after that, or is that the only match you're playing?
I don't know.
Maybe you'll just stick around and play with the kids.
Oh, yeah, I would like to play.
Yeah, grow the game,
I just like to play.
Start asking the spectators.
I'm not an ambassador of pickleball to the point where I feel it is incumbent upon me to grow the game. I just want to play, Fred. I get done with the session where I play now, and it's like, hey, no one coming on the court. Let's do one more.
Start your own charity. Hardy's Hardy's Hardball Kids
Pickle Pals,
and then Pickle Pals.
Hardy's Puny Pickle Pals,
and make it so it's only like $20 for them to get on any pickleball court in the city.
Be perfect.
Get the city kids into pickleball.
I'm just surprised you were able to play another game after one.
Go to the public.
Exhausting.
Go to public basketball courts and round up the kids and go, what are you doing playing basketball? Get over here.
That's right.
I got 4 rackets and a net.
You too.
So it's for the kids. So it's pediatric Pickle Pals.
You too could be a solid 4.0 player.
Or it's the inner city, hey, I'm in. Don't get in my kitchen. Like, hey, kids, I know I got a rap for you. I got a funny bone that I'm not trying to tickle. Let's get involved in a game of pickle. Come on, guys, I rapped it. Rappity rap. I was like, don't you love when they do that? It's a charity for what? My sport I like.
Quit your complaining and quit your bitching. Grab your paddle and stay out the kitchen.
Yeah, look, you're like the priest when they rap for the kids. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Director of Basketball Operations Brad Stevens met the media yesterday to wrap up the year. He said Jaylen Brown does indeed have a partially torn meniscus in his sore knee, but it looks like he won't need surgery for it. And Kristaps Porzingis has been diagnosed with post-viral syndrome. The team believes that rest will get both players back to full strength. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals is tonight in Oklahoma City. The Thunder will oppose Minnesota. Patriots voluntary organized team activities are continuing this week in Foxborough. Mike Vrabel will meet the media later this morning. NFL team owners will reportedly approve a measure today to allow players to participate in flag football. This would be for the 2028 Summer Olympics. The Red Sox put together a solid win over the Mets last night, 3-1 at Fenway Park in the opener of a 3-game series. Ramon Vasquez stepped in for Alex Cora in this one and won his managerial debut.
I only play here half the season, but I've been here with Alex since 18. This is a special place. The fact that I was able to manage my first game in the big leagues with this organization and at this ballpark, it makes it even more special. So I officially retired as a manager today and on. So yeah, it's exciting. Thank God that happened for me, so I'm very excited about it.
Sox are now one game under 500. They are expected to activate Walker Buehler off the injured list to face the Mets tonight. And the New England Revolution play Chicago Fire FC tonight in the round of 16 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. We'll have it live on our HD2 channel at 7:30. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Rodenheiser Home Services. Need more space at home? An ADU, that's an accessory dwelling unit, could be the answer. Rodenheiser Home Services build custom ADUs from design and permitting to expert construction. Visit Rodenheiser.com to schedule a consultation. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
Is elongating.
Weekday morning.
Here goes Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
I know there will be a lot of questions about what's next, but I'll talk probably more about that at the draft time when we have a better idea after meeting with all the key stakeholders and everybody else about what next steps might be. At the end of the day, I think that will all be driven by the same thing that's always driven us, and that is how do we get ourselves in the mix to compete for championships best.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 Sports Hub on YouTube, and you'll be doing us all a great favor, as this is the thing that the company wants. All right, look, Brad Stevens talked yesterday, obviously a disappointing end to the season. They got to get under this tax apron, or do they, Hardy? Brad Stevens talked to the media.
Yep. He mentioned the CBA and the apron, but for anyone thinking about Jaylen Brown maybe not being part of the mix going forward as they make some decisions, everything that Brad Stevens talked about yesterday seemed to include, or at least have the air of keeping as much of this together as possible.
Those guys are, they've achieved so much, and certainly deserve all the recognition and praise and accolades they get. But yeah, that's a huge part of us being the best version of ourselves.
I don't think there's anyone who believes, and maybe you do. Maybe you believe that the team would be better off still after they've won a championship with Tatum and Brown, that they'd be better off with just one or the other, because that was a big mantra for a while. I let that one go after they won the championship. And I've also let go of the idea of moving Jaylen Brown in order to make room and to try and assemble a team for Tatum when he gets back.
Very quickly, Brad Stevens could have answered that question a number of different ways. He could have said all options are on the table moving forward.
Right.
We know where we are with the salary cap. You could say things without saying them. Him answering the question that way, I agree with Hardy. Jaylen Brown's going to be here next year.
Yeah, and if I was a fan of the Celtics, that would disappoint me. Not because Jaylen Brown's not a great player, but because it's going to be boring. Like, if you wanted something exciting, look, Knicks and Pacers, between them have, they each have a star, but let's be honest, these aren't, all-world stars. But as a team, they are what they are, which is Eastern Conference finalists. One of them will be in the NBA championship game. The Knicks won. Brunson's a clutch kid. especially in the Pistons series, he was like money. He's the reason they won that series. Not so much in the Celtics series. I mean, he wasn't like the guy, but he's their guy. Halliburton in his series, like hit that big 3-pointer, all those things. But he had bad games too.
Yeah, Aaron Nesmith made shots. Miles Turner made shots.
So that's more. These aren't these teams with 3 stars, right?
Right. You have one player that's clearly better, but a bunch of role players right behind.
Exactly.
Yes.
And Tatum's better than Brunson or Halliburton, no question. 100 times better.
Yes.
So the theory would be, because the NBA is structured in a way now, and Hardy brought this up yesterday, and it's very true. It's structured in a way now, you're not supposed to repeat. They don't want repeat champions. They don't. That's why they're doing what they do. That's why there's that second tax apron. So is the strategy, if you're going to be a winning team and you have X amount of money to spend, is it 2 stars that are making league maximums, at least at the time of their deals, and then surrounded by whatever else you can get? This is new NBA. Or is it a star surrounded by high-level talent but no other superstar?
I would tell you what the NBA wants. The NBA wants option B.
Yes.
Because that means far more player movement, far more changing of the guards, because anyone could get 1 star. Anyone can get 1 good player. It's just who you surround them with.
And isn't it better for the product that way, too? Because how annoying was it when they're trying to get players not to have so much control. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. When you would hear, oh, so-and-so was talking to so-and-so at the Olympics, and then they're going to organize, and like players were organizing trades, and it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work. Like, it didn't work in Brooklyn. It didn't work in Phoenix. It just doesn't work. It didn't work in Philadelphia. It doesn't work. So, Brown is a top 20 player in the NBA. This is no slight to Brown, and Tatum and Brown together have won a championship, but that was a different NBA than it's going to exist in 2 years. So if you trade Brown and you get assets in return, like the 2nd or 3rd pick in the draft, and then you get some other picks or you get some younger players, when Tatum does come back and he's healthy, which is 2 years, let's be honest, 2 years where Tatum's Tatum again, hopefully, then you're in position, hopefully, that you have young talent around him where you can acquire, like the Knicks did, veterans in positions of need. Now we're competing for a championship.
Okay, what does Stevens think about this whole idea of windows being shortened by the new CBA and how this is going to affect team building?
Do you believe that championship windows are shrinking, especially under this CBA, even compared to the latter half of this decade?
That's a good question. I don't know, but I think it's it's something that I think I think certainly it is more challenging in certain circumstances, for sure.
I wish we still had him on the air. I made a horrible decision not having him on once a week. But he's a great GM.
Here's the other thing with the CBA, and this is you mentioned the one thing that was annoying about the NBA for years with these guys getting together at All-Star games and Olympics and trying to come up with the next super team. I would say the other thing that annoys me when I look around the league and I look at salaries is the average to above average players making astronomical sums of money when there weren't as many checks in place. And you look at guys who were, all right, they're more than role players, but they're just guys. They're just barely starters on middling teams that make astronomical sums, and that's going to have to change too. If you do want to put together a team where you're going to have, 2 max players on it, some of these other players that are getting wealthy, like building generational wealth on having marginal careers, that has to change too, and that should change.
Well, the salary cap as it was 5 years ago eliminated the middle class. You had 3 or 4 guys making $30 million and then a bunch of guys making $5 million. Now what you've done, and I think you're on the right track, Hardy, this new salary cap and the new CBA has eliminated the above-average salary. So now you have 1 max player, if the Celtics keep the band together, 2 max players, and then a bunch of guys making nothing.
It's funny because I was just reading this article. I can't find it about the Shaquille O'Neal and why he left Orlando, because Shaquille had made that mention of it being rigged, and I don't believe that. And why he left Orlando. And Orlando was lowballing him, but it's funny because there's a name of a player a team couldn't didn't have the money to get O'Neal because they signed someone to this huge deal, and it's a guy I'm like, huh?
Who is it?
I can't remember because it was in the article, but it's just it's an example of like some no-name guy got this huge deal. And the guys that the Lakers had to move to get rid of to get the money for Shaquille O'Neal were like Vlade Divac.
Yeah.
Like, you know, these guys that aren't, you know, everyone loved Divac and he was a good player, but these like high-priced dudes that are just like, who? All right. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
What does Brad think about this most recent series with the Knicks and their unceremonious exit from the postseason?
The reality is we blew the first two games, right? And that's why we put ourselves in a tough spot. I realize, and we all realize, listen, these leads go fast, these games go fast, but we had our opportunities. And yes, you can win when you're down 2-0, but you've just diminished your margin for error because there's going to be games like ours in Game 5 where we go nuts and, you know, we're hard to beat that night, or, you know, ours in Game 3 where we're hard to beat that night, but that just ties it. You know, you still have to do that 2 more times.
Yes, I would suggest not losing the first 2 games at home.
I would also suggest not having that one scheduled no-show game that the Celtics seem to have in virtually every playoff series. Maybe not against the Pacers last year, but, man,
I heard
they've been good for that one no-show game for years now where they just, they're not showing up.
Yeah, piggybacking on that, I heard like an ex-NBA player yesterday talking about how he reminded me a little about Cedric talking about the NBA. He's like, now guys will take nights off, and you know when like they'll be playing, but they're taking the night off, and so you get down and you go, all right, like we got another game on Thursday, like let's just, and then you see these blowouts. Then these teams get in the playoffs, and because you see like how Denver lost to OKC, or like how the Celtics lost to the Knicks in that last game. Like these players get in that habit of, you know, once a lead is insurmountable, oh, we're a great team, don't worry about this game, that kind of can creep into the playoffs. It was an interesting attitude.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're not as good a team and wins are more important to you, you're used to battling back from these deficits, and it's easier for you to do when it comes playoff time.
So still this dynamic exists where Joe Mazzulla is coaching a team that Brad Stevens coached. Brad Stevens certainly knows a thing or two about coaching. What's he thinking about Mazzulla these days?
Every year, you know, good coaches get let go, and they're way better than everybody talks about them. I'm just telling you because I coached against them. They're way better than everybody thinks or knows. But that's the reality of our situation because that's the way the world works. And you know, there's other coaches that are really good too that'll get their opportunities. But yeah, we're lucky that we have Joe here. We're lucky that we have the staff we have here, and we're thankful.
Yeah, Joe was Brad's handpicked guy. If anyone thinks Joe Mazzulla is going to be let go this offseason, you're nuts.
You know what Joe could really use? Them trading Brown, because that buys them 2 years.
At least.
At least 3 years.
At least, yeah.
At least 3 years.
Well,
I disagree with that. You think trading Brown buys Joe Mazzulla more time?
Well, then there are no expectations. I think that's what Fred's talking about. I don't want to speak for you.
And how does...
Go ahead.
How
you
does
have my permission.
Okay, good.
How does Joe Mazzulla handle a team that... He was handed a really good team, right? And he's going to coach these guys in weird ways, and he's got some weird ideas. How does that work with a team that's struggling with a bunch of young, really impressionable players without a bona fide chance at winning a title automatically?
There's going to be a drop-off. I mean, look.
Not just a drop-off. What if there's revolt? They're like, look, we suck, and this guy's crazy. What he's doing is not working.
Here's the situation. What happens this next season will define whether or not Joe Mazzulla is around for the following 5. Look, if you're a head coach and you're great, you have to have great players around you. Greg Popovich couldn't get out of his... San Antonio's been horrible for the last couple of years. Popovich was still the coach. Does that make him terrible? No, he has bad players around him. So Joe Mazzulla is going to have players that aren't as good around him next year. The Celtics are going to win. Let's just say Brown comes back and Tatum isn't there. What do they win, 45, 47, whatever it is? You know, you figure Porzingis is gone and Holiday is gone. The players they replaced those two guys with aren't as good. This team is 5th, 6th in the East. Does that make Joe Mazzulla a bad head coach?
No, but I can tell you that if you don't think coaching matters for people that don't think coaching matters in the NBA, look at the Pistons. I mean, they went from like a historically bad team with the highest paid coach in the league. They fire that guy, and the next thing you know, they played the Knicks better than the Celtics
And
did.
this Cleveland Cavaliers, same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing. You hire a different guy, he has a different message. That also exists as well. But in Missoula's specific example, say there is a revolt. Say the players that come here next year, whatever core there is around Jaylen Brown next year, they're not as good. Missoula's message wears thin. This guy's nuts, and he wins 38 games. Then you have a discussion.
Okay, and also, I'd like to have Jared Weiss on tomorrow because he had an article in The Athletic about how, we talked about this with Forsberg a little bit yesterday, is that there's like a 3-year cycle, in his opinion, of how the game is played in the NBA. And the cycle of the Celtics being this like revolutionary offense with three-pointers and spreading things out in the way that they played, teams caught up with that. Like, right, you had those 2 years and they blew one of them, but you had the 2 years you got a championship. But now teams have kind of caught up to that. So Joe is going to have to reinvent kind of his strategy. Like, he can't dig in and go, this is just how you win games. Like, that can't happen because people catch up. Because, again, these guys are great basketball coaches. People keep up. I mean, the Knicks assembled a team to beat the Celtics, and they were right.
Yeah.
You know, like they made that team to beat the Celtics. They did what the Bruins couldn't do. The Bruins tried to make a team to beat the Panthers, and they ended up screwing it all up. The Knicks acquired the players they acquired and made the moves they made specifically to beat the Celtics, and it worked.
What I know about Joe, and of course Hardy's much better friends with him than I am.
Oh,
But
yeah.
what I
Yeah,
know,
but you
what I
did
know
play-by-play,
about
baby.
what I know about Joe is
close friends.
He's open to new ideas. I don't think he's going to, because Tatum's not there and because the personnel will be a little different. I don't think he's going to come back and say we need to shoot 55 threes a game again.
Well,
I think he and his staff will devise something different.
Well, also know this, is that when they lost to the Heat, he went to Costa Rica. He saw his nerdy little chess champion.
That's right.
And he was hiking the day away, going hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. They win a championship the next year. Did he go to Costa Rica last year? No.
Okay. You're obviously making fun, and you're referencing a man by the name of Josh Waitskin, who is on the staff, and he spends time at the facility.
Yeah, a lot
and
of
it's
good
not
he
just
did.
chess; it's push hands. So if you want to, throw shade, just know there'll be someone literally and figuratively pushing back against that. Okay?
Wow.
Watch yourself.
That was poetic.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Again, he was a champion. The article said he was a champion at two things.
Yeah.
Chess, which is a game played around the world and by very, very intelligent people.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, he said, I'm going to double down champion push hands.
Yeah.
I wonder if they make T-shirts for that.
Which is just as difficult as being a champion chess player.
Yes.
There's just as
Now
many
you
people
get
playing it.
Yeah, it took you weeks, but now you understand.
I do
Trophies?
understand it.
Trophies too? Push hand champion?
I think it's more of a ribbon event.
That's right. That's
Couple of
exactly
hands
what it looks
pushing.
like. Yeah.
I just think it's a nice blue ribbon. You go and it's like a swim meet.
It's an acrylic thing. It stands on its own.
I went to my parents' attic because when my parents moved, they just had people take literally everything from the house, including like spices and mustard and stuff, and just move it into this house. And in the attic, they have everything from my old room and like stuff that I don't even know I had. And there's all these ribbons, and I'm like, ooh, what did I win? And they are swimming participation ribbons that you could not even.
Wall of Gaylord.
Yes, it was just it was like, wow, these are of no meaning. They were just, if you think they just started handing out awards to kids for this generation, oh no. In the 80s, they were handing out plenty of awards to kids that did not deserve them.
I got a handful of sixth-place BMX trophies from back in the day, out of 6.
Yeah. I have baseball team trophies, no individual awards. No individual awards.
Sure.
I was on some good teams.
Hardy, were you a mongoose guy?
No, started with a Rampar, which was the Raleigh was to Rampar what Infinity is to Nissan.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then I upgraded and I got the Torker.
This is way above I just know mongoose.
Yeah.
You only know Mongoose? Oh, I had
For dirt bikes?
I had the Eddie King replica Torker. It was used, but that was a hell of a bike.
Rode that right into 6th place. Good for you.
Well, if you go Haro, then I know what you're talking about, because now you're talking about freestyle, which is taking it to the streets. Not all of us were some hick growing up on dirt tracks.
Little Mr. Look at me with my freestyle. No, I was racing.
Look at GT Performer, beautiful turquoise blue with pink pegs.
The first Greg
making a statement.
The first.
You
Greg
think I'm
Hill.
gay? Yeah, I'm gay. I'm gay for freestyling.
The OG Greg Hill was a BMXer who rode for GT.
Sold his own advertising.
The first one to sell his own advertising.
He would put on his own meets in very, very strange areas, rural Maine.
And as a freestylist, sometimes he would only get a half or even a third of the points of the person who came in first place. But he was celebrated.
Yeah. Now what are you going to do?
You started it.
He said the name and it made me laugh.
Reading the wrong column.
I was enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
It was a trip down memory lane. What could I tell you?
Stu Thompson was a Redline guy. See,
I knew Redline.
He was probably the most famous racer. But all those but the freestyle guys, come on, what are you doing?
A friend of mine's brother did the motocross, broke his back, paralyzed him. Corey Seagrist' brother.
Thanks.
That's
Fred.
dangerous stuff.
Oh, that's fun. Thanks.
Yeah. You guys know anyone who's been paralyzed? All right, we'll be back in just a
Get him on the
moment.
phone.
Can you guys at least get someone who's been paralyzed?
Listening to
apologize to the audience. I apologize. But
there it is. Was that so tough?
But my instinct was this is going to be no good. This is exactly what I didn't want, and that was what I thought. But what do you want out of me?
You've already apologized. I'm not going to push back. I accept your apology on behalf of the audience. Okay? How's that?
This is someone who had called in. Michael says, Fred, I know that Hardy and Felger will make swell teammates, but could you please play the audio of Hardy ripping Felger, telling him he has no friends and nobody likes him, just for old time's sake?
Oh, please. I wouldn't mind listening to that. That was great.
Oh, that's right. I didn't know when I was reading it, but that's something from before.
Yes.
That's something like from a long time ago.
Yes.
That was a Friday of, as Memorial Day weekend approaches, they were at the Ace Ticket Studio down near Fenway, and the line went down.
Yep.
And I was there working on production for their show on a Friday afternoon of Memorial Day weekend. And James Stewart didn't know I was still in the building. So the line goes down. He plays like all the commercials for the 4 o'clock hour just to kill time, but they're trying to make it back in Friday Memorial Day traffic from Fenway to Brighton. And it's taken him a while. And he comes down, he's like, Hardy, thank God you're here. Can you go on the air and cover? I said, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I go on the air, and he's played all the commercials. There's no one else there. It's just me alone in the studio. So I started taking calls. Scott from Rentham was good enough to call in 3 times that segment.
That's nice.
And we talked about
Zolak, of course.
Golf.
Yeah.
We talked about Ultimate. We talked about the them trying to get open wheel racing into downtown Boston. We discussed all manner of topics. It was a true agenda-free Friday. And Felger came in, and he was all pissed because, I had ruined his show with, talking about all this other stuff. When I was there doing him a favor, I think I went 41 straight minutes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like
Yeah, it
pretty
was
much
bad.
pretty much solo without being able to play commercials.
And no
And
prep.
Yeah.
I was stuck in traffic. I heard this happen in real time.
Yeah.
So what happened, Hardy, when he showed up?
We had words.
Do we have that audio?
We're looking for it's buried pretty deep. We're looking.
No,
for
no,
it.
I understand. I understand. I just got the email. I didn't
Hardy
know.
unquestionably got the better of it. It was fantastic to listen to.
Well, I mean, Hardy had a point. Like,
Yes.
Like, what do you want me to do?
You ungrateful son of a bitch. Why don't you just be quiet and start talking?
I don't think Felger.
Sit down and keep talking.
I don't think Felger would do that now.
No, and I don't think he was really mad, but you know how you get amped up and sometimes you're in show mode when you get off the air? Well, I was still in show mode because I was, doing the show. And he came in and I was ready to argue back.
Well,
And
you
I
probably
took it-
also didn't feel great because you were thrown into the show and you're like trying to kill time, and you probably were like feeling a lot of pressure because you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I'm alone in a room being broadcast out to theoretically hundreds of thousands of people. I'm sitting here treading water, and you're going to come in here and crap on me.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. No, I understand. Like, how often were you on the air? Were you on the air on a regular basis back then?
Yeah, but this was 10 or more years ago. So it's, we were still you and I were still relatively new at this, sports talk thing and only doing it for a few years. So yeah, it could have gone better.
No. But I'm defending you. I'm like, so yeah, you probably were like, look, man, I've just sweated through these 41 minutes, and now you're coming at me like, Jesus Christ.
T-Bone found it. He's given it to Ryan, and Ryan's working on getting into the system. So we'll have it for you in a minute or two.
Ooh, T-Bone, thank you. He has that on hand.
One quick email while we wait, and this is from LD. Cedric's goodbye, everybody, sounds like an homage to Aunt Bethany saying, hello, everyone, from Christmas vacation. Maybe Grandy will get Cedric's cat wrapped up in a box for next year's son.
Oh.
Goodbye, everybody.
I should say hello. I should say it.
Goodbye, everybody.
All right.
I gotta go pee.
And what is that?
Goodbye, everybody. I gotta go pee.
Again, that's when Grandy's doing his solemn sign-offs that Cedric just keeps interrupting him, telling him he wants to leave. But I'm the dick. When Hardy and I had meetings about who was going to replace John. And those were just cuz. Like, what an idiot. Like, that didn't. What do you think was going on here, Sean? Like, Jesus Christ.
Speaking of T-Bone, remember a couple of weeks ago when you were trying to come up with a pithy nickname for Porzingis because you were convinced he had diarrhea?
Oh, yeah.
No, you had diarrhea.
Yeah.
Now that we know it was not diarrhea.
How do we know it's not diarrhea?
Because they said it was some kind of a respiratory thing.
Of the bowel.
Post-viral syndrome, they're calling it.
Yeah, it's diarrhea.
Well, T-Bone punched up your joke a couple of different times.
Yeah.
And then now that we know it's respiratory, Mitch says, pass this along to T-Bone, cough staps Porzingis.
If it doesn't involve poo, it's like I got no time for it. It's missing that little chunk.
All right, you want to hear this thing?
Yeah. All right. So this is from 10 years ago.
Yep.
This is now Hardy's now pickleball partner.
Right.
Coming into the studio and Felger giving him what for?
What are you doing to this program?
Yeah, saving it and delivering you the highest ratings you will experience all ratings book long.
That 5 minutes I just listened to, you just set the Felger and Maserati program back about, 15 years.
You know
what?
what?
Are we talking about IndyCar racing?
I've already
What about the 3-4?
Sure.
Are we talking about the 3-4, the 4-3 defense?
I tell you what, and I'm not.
It was almost the Jimmy and Billy show.
Yeah. I am not too afraid to admit that I have saved that pathetic television program of yours. You suck on 8 levels of life. Honestly.
It was almost Doug Gottlieb.
Felger, name your friends. Go. You can't. Nobody likes you. And this is why. You trustafarian, hippie wannabe, rich kid wannabe selling grilled cheeses in the parking lot and taking nitrous balloons, jackass.
It's a very strong anti-hippie message going on in the show today.
That was as good as it could possibly be.
The best line.
Name your
best
friends,
line is
go.
name your friends go. You can't. Because it could be said to me and I'd be like, Do I have to have hung out with him in the last couple weeks?
That's incredible.
That's a great line.
That's fantastic.
That's a great line.
You deserve a great pat on the back and a little chuck on the shoulder for that.
That's a great line. Because the trustafarian stuff is all great too, but I've said that myself too.
And the sucking on 8 levels of life is a Robbie Road steamer, but the name your friends
name
go
your friends
was
go.
in the moment, organic. That's a Hardy original.
Oh no, it's fantastic. Name your friends go. You can't. You don't have any. And this is why nobody likes you, and this is why. That's great. What was his reaction? Just like, oh boy, okay.
He kind of laughed about it. And then I had to do TV. NBC Sports, to their credit, booked us together on TV like a night or two later, and I went on and they replayed it as we're sitting down for a little chin wag about the Red Sox or whatever. And I said, in reflection, not my proudest moment, but I stand by every word of it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because there is a thing where, for some of us, it's easier to go all in on someone on the radio, as strange as that sounds. I know this is the way, like with Howard Stern. I know this is the way with a lot of people. It's this way with Anthony Cubia. I know for a fact. He's told me. It's like easier on the radio. And then like when it's like in person, it's way weirder. Like it sounds weird because you're broadcasting to so many people, but after so many years, you get so used to talking on the radio that it's almost, you're like removed from yourself. Yeah. And then as soon as the mics go off, you got to handle it. And it's weird, yeah. Yeah, and Felger doesn't seem like he likes confrontation. Like in-person confrontation. Maybe he does.
Oh, no, he doesn't mind it.
Off air?
There's been some significant locker room confrontation with multiple teams.
Yeah. But that's not his fault. That's the other guy doing it.
Yeah, off air, I don't know. But on air, he's not opposed to it. Like in person on air, which...
No. That's you still have a mic in front of you. You're still talking into a mic. That removes that whole part. It's like when the mic is taken away, like it's weirder to see someone. And then you got to kind of stand by it because you got to be like, yeah, dude, this is why I did it. Like, that's why I always have like a justification. You know, like if I ran into some reason Bill Belichick and he knew who I was and he said like, oh, you're a dick. And I'd be like, oh, I'm a dick. Like, and then and I would be very comfortable doing that. And if it was Sean Grandy came up to me, I'd be like, Sean, what the hell, dude? You're mad at me. Fine. I can understand why I made fun of you. But let's be honest. You were crying and carrying on. It's weird. I would say that, and I would say you can feel free to insult me all you want. That's your right. All right, we'll be back. Here are the headlines.
giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
You said you wanted to hear more music in the morning.
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
No, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show?
6-2 stack mark. 6-2 stack mark. Ready.
It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, everybody. We are Toucher and Hardy. And as we finish things up, I know, John, there was something that you wanted to get to that is unnerving.
Yes.
I never like when this happens.
If you're a Red Sox fan or you're just paying attention to the Sox, keep your eye on Pete Alonso tonight over at first base for the Mets. 2 nights ago on Sunday night, Yankees had the bases loaded in a tie game late. Guy hit a ground ball right at Alonso, and he threw home, but he threw about 7 feet over the catcher's head all the way to the backstop. Yankees scored, I think, 6 runs in that top of the ninth and wound up scoring.
You want to hear that, John?
Sure.
On the ground, Alonso. What do you do? He threw it away. It wasn't close, and the Yankees have the lead as Alonso airmailed it to home.
He didn't just airmail it. He threw it about 4 floors too high to home plate. And when I looked at that, I'm like, that's Major League Baseball player can miss. You can throw it in the dirt. You can short hop it. But when you see a throw like that from about, 80 feet away, you think, okay, there might be a problem here. And I sent that to the guys last night. Sure enough, last night, Jaron Duran hit a ground ball to first base. Pete Alonso, all he has to do is underhand flip it to the pitcher who's covering, threw it over his head by about 3 feet. Duran is safe. So it's happened twice now in the last couple of days. These are the kinds of things that unnerve a professional player of any kind. And we've seen it in baseball a lot. I mean, Red Sox fans remember what happened to Daniel Bard one day in Toronto.
Steve Sachs.
Chuck Knobloch.
Mackie Sasser.
Rick Ankiel. But the weird thing about it is, and I watched
Mark Wohlers.
One thing about it is that I watched him after he botched that underhanded throw. He threw the ball back to the pitcher on pickoff throws, no problem. So it's a bizarre thing. He has, from what we can tell, he has trouble throwing the bases, but can throw the ball back to the pitcher after the guy throws over to first base. So just keep an eye on Pete Alonso tonight. It's just weird. The yips come out of nowhere, and it's unfortunate.
I hate it. It comes from overthinking,
if you have that extra split second, like on that toss to first.
Yes.
I mean, I see it in baseball games. A kid makes a throwing error, and then next time he gets the ball, like instead of that natural movement, even kids have done it a million times. It's that natural thing. You just throw it, and then they take that split second and think about it and kind of aim it.
Yeah.
And then you pray that they get that one in, because then that can usually get your mind off of it. You've succeeded and now it's over. But you do 2 throws in a row and then it's in your head. And it's that thing about releasing a baseball that's so easy. But if you've ever overthought it or gotten the yips, if you've ever done a first pitch, even batting practice, and you hit it. I remember I hit a kid when Mile was little. I hit a kid during batting practice.
I was just about to say the same thing, because the same thing happened to me. It happens once. You start thinking about it, and all of a sudden you can't throw like a 40-mile-an-hour pitch over the plate because you're petrified.
And then I would have to get on one knee and flip batting practice because then I thought all the parents were looking at me and all this stuff. And then
you're a pro baseball player. You just made 2 bad throws, and there are 30-something thousand people sitting and watching you tonight. So it may or may not happen, but keep an eye on Pete Alonso. Just 2 very strange throws.
It's funny you mentioned the 30,000 people in the stands and all the people watching on TV. I do think that it's something to keep in mind when they ask players to switch positions willy-nilly. Like, they're not just doing it on a playground and they're keeping score and then putting it in the paper. Like, I mean, there's the act of playing that position in front of conceivably, again, 30,000 people in the stadium, 100,000 people watching a local game, whatever, how many people. There's a lot of pressure there. I mean, it's funny because say, like, oh, call the kid up and put him at, like, whatever position, and he'll be fine. Put Roman Anthony anywhere and just get him in there and have him be fine. Well, you're asking the kid going to the major leagues, so you got the pressure of that. And then on top of that, oh, here's a new position for you. Just go ahead and learn it and do it. And do it at Fenway. Like, put yourself in that situation. Like, you're 20 years old. When you think about when you were 20, and they're like, oh, you're in the major leagues. And you're like, oh, I don't care who you are.
By the way, Christian Campbell learning a new position. Campbell has been off the last 2 days. He's 4 for his last 51 at the plate on top of all of this.
Unfortunately, too,
they get figured out. That's the thing, is that they learn how to pitch to kids. They learn how to pitch to the kids.
But to have to do that in addition to taking grounders at first?
No, I know. It's something, it's a very specific to baseball, is that it's something that you're doing every day, and it's something where there's a tremendous time to think. It's not basketball, like free throws, or you've seen people get yipped with free throws.
Same thing. You got all the time in the world.
But the thing about basketball is that in a flow of a game, like, you don't have time to think. You're working in, like, flow state and, like, on instinct and stuff. Like, in baseball, that's just not the case. All there is time to think. And that's, you know, like, we just act like, oh, well, they're professionals. They should be able to do this. And it's like, yeah, they're professionals, but it's the very, very, very special guy that can get in front of all those people and do it at that level. I just have a tremendous amount of sympathy for baseball players. I don't know why. They make a lot of money. But I think sometimes we make it sound a lot easier than it is. I just put them at first. Well,
but you see, when I was 20,
I do it on a playground.
That's a bad example for me, because I was still convinced I could do anything. That lasted till about 24, probably.
I would tell you what I was thinking when I was 20 if I could recall. Not a lot of very vivid memories from the 20th year of my life. I believe that was a fraternity year, which is not awful memorable. Again, I have that big gap in pop culture, that in sports, where there is that 4, 5, 6 year period where I don't know what you're talking about. I've gone back and seen some of it, but it was like I was like in space, and then they put me back down and I could consume all the media again. Oh, Seinfeld was a good show. Like stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Oh, this got good. Oh, interesting. It sucked when I saw it when it first came out. All right. That's it.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Why don't we leave with that song? That'll do it for us. Sorry about 8 o'clock. My bad. Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.